disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Yo, welcome everybody to another BD Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad. That's right, sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you, as we had three consecutive nights of boxing starting on Thursday. And let me tell you something, quality fights all around, a little bit of everything for everybody. So we're going to be talking about all of that, plus more, taking your phone calls near the end of the hour, thereabouts. We got to talk a lot. There's a lot of subjects to talk about, so without further ado, let's get to them. However, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature, although it's always better to join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. We also have a Patreon page that you can join for as little as $2 per month, and it helps us fund our independent, hard-hitting documentaries that are on the way. They will always in development, and you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, and you know what? That's the other thing, man. Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, it's free of charge. You can listen at your leisure, and the most important thing, other than the donations, is that you continue to like and subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel. Very important, especially in these trying times of prophecies and tribulations. A lot going on in the Middle East, let me tell you. But this ain't a second renaissance, so we'll stick to boxing for the moment. Speaking of the initiated, I want to give a big shout out to the Universal Boxing East. I think that's what it means. Quicksloth, Lalo Soto Gaming, one of the initiated. Shout out to him. Chet Collins, Eparokua, LT. I don't know if that's the LT. Shout out to him. Mars, Mark T, Phil Miles, Isaac Bermudez. Who else we got? Super Sardonic, For Honor. Who else? Omar E. Alfredo Contreras, shout out to him, another one of the initiated. We got number 14 in there as well. We got Knockout Ned. We got Alejandro Solis. Shout out to him. Rampack Strong and Company, 10-4, another one of the initiated. Nightmurph, another one of the initiated. Shout out to him. El Yepeson. Who else? We got Super Sardonic, King Bucho in the house. Jason Payne says, don't let that incel Dora on. Well, I mean, if we let your weird ass call in, I mean, we got to, although, yeah, I'm a little bit ambivalent about letting Dora on. I mean, some of the stuff he was saying yesterday during the main event, I don't know if he can say that on a Sunday show. I mean, it's all fine and dandy if he says it behind closed doors. I might even agree with him on a lot of things he says. However, not on this show. No sorry, Bob. This is a corporate show. Got to keep it clean. Quicksloth also in the house, and Never Soberz as well. ISO, or that's ISO. I don't know how you pronounce that. But anyway, shout out to everybody in the house. Hope you guys are doing well. And listen, we've been out of the loop here on the show for a while, for a little bit. But then again, like I said, 3 consecutive nights of boxing, a little bit of everything for everybody. So let's make it happen. Let's give me 2 seconds to call a couple of people here, and then we shall get into the nitty gritty of what transpired. I don't know. I wanted to sort of start in chronological order, but screw that. We'll start with the main event, for yesterday's main event, which was the most salacious, not salacious. What's the word I'm looking for? A sensational event, I will say, of the past 3 days, because Jaron is undefeated, walks away with a unanimous decision over the Karen in a rematch that nobody really asked for, but I was looking forward to it because I was looking forward to see whether Ennis would make any adjustments to try to get this Karen out of there. I mean, now listen, I was high on Jaron Ennis during the pandemic when he beat Abreu. I forgot his first name, but this Abreu guy had given Baranchik, I believe. If not Baranchik, then maybe I'm confusing him with Kavaliuskas. He gave one of those Belarusians a very tough fight, made it very awkward. And then Jaron Ennis comes along and wipes the floor with him. And I said, whoa, this guy's got something. Subsequently, I started sort of having some doubts about his defense. I mean, he got stunned early on in his career by a Dominican guy. I forget his name, probably Gomez or something. Then Lipinets stunned him for just a split second, rocked him, and that's a little dude right there in Lipinets. And then he was getting hit a lot against Avanesian, but I always kept telling myself, well, you know, Avanesian, he hits every... I mean, he was hitting Terence Crawford flush when he fought him too, and, you know, he upset Josh Kelly not that long ago. So, okay, you know, you're getting hit by that guy. There's no shame in that. Then along comes this fight yesterday, and boy, oh boy, did some of the stuff that people were suspicious of come to fruition. This dude needs to tighten up that defense. Like I said, he ended up walking away with a unanimous decision. And we're going to get to the scorecards later, by the way, and some of the stuff that Harvey Duck. Some people are calling him Harvey Cock. you know how this community is with the names. Like Amok and some other guys, they call Jaron Ennis Booty Anus. You know, his nickname is Boots, so they got to switch it up to Booty Anus. I mean, I don't know why it makes me laugh. It's so immature, and yet it still makes me laugh. Hey, what do you want from me? I'm a child at heart. But yeah, he needs to tighten up that defense, man. Jaron Ennis and Harvey Duck kind of helped him out a little bit there yesterday, allowing so many lone blows. Or, I don't know, I have to rewatch the fight. Some of them seem borderline to me, but be that as it may, it wouldn't be the first time Harvey Duck helps out the A side. Let's just put it that way. And so Jaron Ennis walked away with a unanimous decision that really should have been closer than the scorecards reflected. There was one scorecard, I believe, was 119-107. I mean, come on. And you know what? People tend to use the word overhyped, right? Or exposed sometimes when a hype job gets exposed. And that term hype job really depends on who's using it and how often they've used it. So, for example, take a fighter like there was a guy that lost yesterday on the DAZN card, an Afro Anglo. I think he was undefeated, and this Mexican dude beat him. Okay, nobody's gonna say that dude got exposed because very few people were actually touting him as the next great, you know, pound for pound or whatever. So you can't really use the hype job exposed moniker on that dude. However, with Jaron Ennis, so many people were high on him. So many people were saying that he beats everybody from 147 to 154. The only one that can compete with him is Terence Crawford. Ring Magazine even did well, it's not a magazine anymore, but anyway, that website, they said that they anointed him not that long ago as the next pound for pound king, the pound for pound #1 guy in the next, 5 years maybe? I don't know the timeline that they used, but that's what they said. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, why, like, you know, he's getting hit a lot. Now, that's the other thing. I know some people are going to say, well, this is boxing. Everybody gets hit. No, let's make the distinction here, because we can agree that some boxers get hit more than others, right? That's why some guys are labeled defensive geniuses. Some guys are labeled defensively sound. And then some guys are easily hittable, right? Jaron Ennis, for a guy who's got so many tools in his toolbox. He's got hand speed. He's got power. Although I've talked to some of the inner circle here who sort of doubt and have cast aspersions on that power, whether it really is as potent as some people make it out to be. That being that, whatever. Let's just stick to the facts. He does have above average power, even if for the people that think that it's overrated. He's got power, he's got speed, good reflexes, agility, which means dexterity in my book, and he knows what he's doing. He's got good combos. He knows how to place his shots properly. Let's not forget, punching with power takes technique. It's not just, I'm just going to throw a shot, I'm going to knock the guy out. You got to, even Deontay Wilder, who had horrible technique all around, one thing that he did have good technique on, which was bizarre that he would have good technique on just one punch, that right hand. He threw it like you're supposed to. He would sit on it, he would twist his hips, bend the knees. I mean, and he would, he would step on it and throw it straight as an arrow. He would whip it, actually. So it takes good technique to achieve and generate power. So Jaron Ennis has all of that. Tell you what he doesn't have. Good defense. It's become clear now that he relies on those reflexes to get away from punches. And it's all well and good to get out, be relaxed and make guys miss when you're fighting midgets and slow-ass guys like Villa, who I think at this point, it's either him or Lipinets, or maybe Avenisian. Those are his three best opponents. It's easy to make Villa miss, who's slow as molasses, barely beat Ellis a couple of years ago. That's his best win. And then that dude, Villa, the Colombian dude, ended up getting knocked out not that long ago. So he finally fought a guy who was willing to stand in there with him, like Avenisian, except this time this dude wasn't going to go out or away as easily as Avenisian does. And he was tagging him. I mean, I don't know. I was looking at the fight and I was aghast. I was thinking, what are you doing, Jaron Ennis? And here's the problem. Here's the main problem with Jaron Ennis. He tries to roll with the shots. That's his main line of defense. He just tries to roll with shots, doesn't really block them, doesn't have a good guard necessarily. He just stands there and tries to roll with shots, like he's I don't know, like he's James Toney or something. He doesn't do it well. He gets hit with there were points in that fight where he got hit flush with 3 shots in a row that were rocking his head side to side. Now, does the Karen lack power, or does Ennis have that good a chin? I don't know. I mean, we also have to factor in the fact that Jaron Ennis is huge. Thunderdome, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. Thunderdome has been saying for years, Jaron Ennis is a weight bully. He looks much bigger than all these other opponents. And it was apparent when he fought Karen. By the way, the Karen showing up bold with the beard. I don't know, maybe that's because Trump won last week and he felt, he felt empowered by that. So he said, let me shave it and let me just go all out American X-style. American history X-style. But Jaron Ennis, that's his main flaw. Bad hand placement, and he tries to roll everything. That doesn't really work out unless you have Roy Jones or James Toney-like reflexes. And like I said, he has good reflexes, but he just stands there taking flush shots. And, that's going to cost him. I've said it before. Even after Ortiz struggled against Bohashuk, I still pick, although I'm not 100% confident, obviously. Whenever am I confident? I'm never. But I do feel like I would give Virgil Ortiz, that is, the edge in the fight over Jaron Ennis because precisely that, the defense. Virgil Ortiz might seem more rudimentary to the untrained eye than Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis is flashier, right? Hands down. By the way, those trunks that he was wearing, I don't know. Liberace designed them before he died or something. I don't know, but you know what? I don't really have much problem with the flare and the strings and all that, but the colors, purple. He was wearing pink at some point too. It's like, come on, man. Are you trying to be subversive? Like, well, yeah, I'm going to wear the colors that are gay, but that's how confident I am that I can play off the gay allegations. I don't know. Listen, your nickname is too close to Booty and Ennis, your last name. I would be careful if I were you. But anyway, the point is this. This isn't the fashion channel. The point is that he has a big weight advantage. And against Ortiz, he'd be fighting another guy who was struggling to make 147 not that long ago. But Ortiz at least keeps his hands up and knows how to fight on the pocket and knows how to keep his shots short and compact. And let me tell you, Bohashuk and Jaron Ennis are different fighters. Bohashuk is a guy like Ortiz who keeps his guard tight and will stay in front of you and keep throwing shots. and does it while remaining defensively responsible. Jaron Ennis, if he stands there with Virgil Ortiz and has his hands down when he starts swinging, because that's the other problem. When he swings with his hooks, he drops the opposite hand. And the Karen was landing flush on him. Could you imagine what a Virgil Ortiz hook would do to this fella? I mean, I shudder to think. And not that long ago, Jaron Ennis' father was talking a lot, as they tend to do nowadays. All of these fighters tend to do a lot of yapping. And now apparently it's De La Hoya who's doing the yapping. Probably empowered by, certain substances that give him extra powers, perhaps also sexual powers, but we're not going to get into that. But the point is this. There's a point to what I'm saying here. It's a potential fight. And I wasn't surprised when Jaron Ennis, after the fight, he said it was an okay performance and that now he's looking to move up in weight. Something I've been saying for a while now, that this dude, I don't know how he makes weight. I know Thunderdome has also cast aspersions to whether this guy's actually even making weight. You never know what type of hijinks they get up to over there in the A-side world. I mean, yeah, man, I think it's time for a move to 154. There's not much to do at 147. You got Stanionis, who's rusty as hell. You got, sorry, at this time of the day, it's been a long day, I'm forgetting the names. Norman. That dude priced himself out. I know there's people who are picking sides. Oh, Jaron Ennis changed him. I mean, listen, how the fuck is Jaron Ennis going to shortchange anybody? He's not the A side. I mean, he was the A side in this scenario, but he's not A plus side that he can command these paydays and shortchange anybody. The money it is what it is. It wouldn't be a mega fight. It wouldn't be anything. It would be a good fight. So I don't know why Norman was asking for more. But anyway, that's what we get at 147. Slim pickings. I tell you where the parties are going on. The upper floor, next floor, management. That's where you got Terence Crawford, you got Madrimov, you got Bohachuk, you got Virgil Ortiz Jr., you've got Mendoza still in there, Fundora, the guy who just beat Tim Zhu, Murtazaliev, whatever. That dude's a monster too, or looks like one at least. But none of them are unbeatable. They all have things that even Murtazaliev didn't look all that hot against Jack Kolke. And I know Jack Kolke gives everybody trouble, but still, it's a good division that we got up there. Oh, and then there's also the other dude. By the way, the Ring TV's website is down, but there's another guy at 154. I think he's promoted by Golden Boy. He's an Afro Anglo guy. He's another aggressive dude, undefeated. So that division is red hot, like spanked ass cheeks hot. And I'm telling you, that is the division to be in. So Jaron Ennis, stop playing around. Just get your ass to 154 already. And maybe he'll be stronger at 154 too. Although the flip side to that coin is he'll no longer have the size advantage. And we saw how that played against a guy like Virgil Ortiz. So I guess it depends. I guess we'll see what happens. I must say, though, that for as much criticism as Jaron Ennis is getting from some people, or a lot of the boxing world, the Karen says that Boots is very good. He gave him his props. He said, "This guy's very, very good. I did my best, and I didn't get the decision." And he says he's very good for the welterweight division. Now I tell you what, though. Hold on a second. What was this? There was one point where Eddie Hearn was doing the talking for Jaron Ennis. He said, "I think he's a good fighter." Talking about the Karen, but Boots was trying to make it exciting, trying to get him out of there. He doesn't have a lot of regard about what's coming back. I mean, come on. I mean, everybody feels shots. And you could tell that he was frustrated every time he got his head rocked. So I don't buy this whole. He didn't have a lot of regard about what was coming back. He's getting hit too much because he's not really motivated. I mean, that motivated excuse, that's something that Ryan Garcia uses a lot. I just wasn't motivated. I wasn't motivated. I just didn't feel it. I mean, you're getting paid good money. You're at the top of the world here on DAZN, ESPN. Whether you're fighting on TV, and this ain't Pro Box, which, by the way, Pro Box has been doing very well with what they've got. But it's you're not getting paid 6 figures or 7 figures. These dudes are at that level, and you're not motivated. I gotta tell you, if motivation is the problem, I don't know what to tell you. Against Ionis, against Norman, and against Barrios, it's going to be different, Eddie Hearn said. Against Ortiz, it's going to be different. The performance has got to be different. He, Ennis, and Bozy know that the performance might not be good enough to beat one of those guys, but it will be a different performance against one of those guys. Don't worry about that, said Hearn. Well, Hearn is very optimistic for the type of year he's had. He remains optimistic. I got to give him, that's that Winston Churchill type of optimism. We'll fight in the beaches, we'll fight in the trenches, we will fight. I forget how the quote goes, but that's what he seems to be channeling here. I got to tell you, I think he should be channeling another great or notorious British figure, and that is Aleister Crowley. You need to do some magic and resurrect your promotional company, because this year was a tomb. You got bones littered all over the place, corpses all over the place. But he seems to be optimistic. But come on, let's face the facts. If you getting tagged by the Karen, and by the way, that's the other thing. Some people are saying, some people mention Ryan Garcia, which, by the way, look, Ryan Garcia could tag this dude. He might catch Janice, maybe hurt him early. But Ryan Garcia is the guy, speaking of motivation, like I said, he doesn't find motivation. He was fighting Gervonta Davis in the biggest fight of his life, and he said, I wasn't motivated. He got rocked by Devin Haney, and he's soft to the body. So you're telling me Ennis wouldn't be able to get... I mean, maybe both guys can take each other out, but I would have more confidence in Ennis surviving getting hurt and then him taking Ryan Garcia out. But the point is, some people were saying, but Ryan Garcia won't be able to catch Ennis because he lacks Karen's footwork. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Was Karen twisting him and turning him and pivoting him and then hitting Ennis? Is that what he needed to do to hit him? No, sometimes he would just take a little step back and counter him. Sometimes he would be in the pocket, wait for Ennis to miss, and then he would counter and capitalize on that. People make too much of Ryan Garcia's flat feet. If you have flat feet, that means you're planted to throw and land with power. That's how he knocks motherfuckers out. Same thing with Virgil Ortiz. People are saying, well, he doesn't have the footwork that Karen has. He doesn't need to be dancing around and pivoting around. He's going to plant his feet, he's going to block, and he's going to punch off the block shots. What was Paulie Malignaggi call it all the time? Catch and shoot. That's what he would do. So this whole thing that, well, he doesn't have that footwork of Karen, believe me, that it would actually be better for, it would actually work out better for guys like Ortiz. That's what he's been working out for most of his career, to just stand his ground and pack on power and counter with power shots. He also has a hell of a jab. And you saw Jaron Ennis a lot of that fight, some of the fight, was backing up with his chin up in the air, hands down, getting his head snapped back. Those are the punches that create excitement with the judges. And they're the type of shots that wear you down. They wear down on the spine. Something awful. Real quick, I also want to, before we continue, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. And we'll be opening up the phone lines in a little bit as soon as I'm done talking about some of this stuff. But I also wanted to say, I'm considering opening them up maybe now. And then if nobody calls in, I'll continue my spiel here. But the other thing was Jaron Ennis' father. The instructions provided. I wasn't listening. I was listening to Soberz's Discord, people there, their comments on the fight. I wasn't listening to the DAZN. I had it on mute. Had it muted. But apparently what people were telling me was that Ennis' father was giving horrible instructions. Teofimo Lopez Sr. type instructions. What are you doing? Get him out of there. Get him out of there already. What the fuck? Those are the instructions they were giving him. I mean, they might as well just told Jaron Ennis, hey, hit harder. I think that's one of Mike Tyson's trainers told him during the first Holyfield fight. Hit harder, Mike. Hit harder. Yeah, thanks. I hadn't thought of that. How about be faster, be better? I mean, is that any superior advice? Just to tell a guy, be better? Who was it that one time there was a fighter? Who was it, a boxer that got told by his trainer, do the Roy Jones thing? Do the Roy Jones thing. I think it was Shane Mosley's father. I think, what was his name? Shane Mosley's father was Jack Mosley. Anyway, it's not important. But yeah, so now even some people are saying that Jaron Ennis needs to change trainers. I usually am not one of those alarmists or reactionaries that after a bad performance, like, oh, yeah, change trainers. But in this scenario, he's been showing holes. he's displayed deficiencies that he has yet to correct, and they're only going to become more apparent as he steps up in competition. So, yeah, maybe changing trainers in this scenario is warranted. And again, it's a difficult thing because he's dealing with family members, blah, blah, blah. But hey, listen, it's clear at this point that either you change your ways, you find a way to change them, or you find somebody that can change them for you. Because right now for Jaron Ennis, those defensive lapses, they're going to cost him. They're going to cost him something awful. Let me go to the chat here, see what people are saying real quick. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say. And I'm going to be opening up the phone lines real soon. All right, fellas? So don't forget to hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. It really helps us out. What are people saying in the chat? Knock his Eurobum ass out already, man. I don't know. I don't think he said that. Super Zonali says, bro, just win. Are you stupid? Yeah, that was the level of instructions that he was getting there. Shout out to, I got some super chats here. Shout out to Chad Collins for his contribution with the super chat. And he says, if Boots gets hit like that by anyone with decent power, he gets KO'd. Needs to get a real trainer and shore up his defense. I mean, absolutely. It was like I said, I was aghast at how easily he was getting tagged and getting his head rocked back and forth. Virtuoso, shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution as well. He says, Ryan Garcia is chinny. I call him Amir Chicano. Oh, reference to Amir Kandar. Boots stops him, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's insanity that they would be willing to do that. However, and shout out to Chad Collins and Virtuoso for their contributions. I want to ask you guys, forget Ryan Garcia, because, yeah, I think Ennis stops him. Although I think it would be entertaining for the first couple of rounds, speed versus speed, power versus power. But I think eventually Ennis takes him out. There's a more interesting fight perhaps out there, and I asked people that yesterday on the Discord, Teofimo Lopez versus Jaron Ennis. Because although Lopez is shorter and he's hittable as well, he's still pretty quick himself, and he packs quite a wallop. Even though it's been proven to be a little overrated, he nevertheless can crack, and he knows what he's doing in there. He's a world-class fighter, so hey, maybe that would be an interesting one. I see we got Soberz jumping in here. Soberz, are you there?
What's up, BDA?
What's up, man? Are you available, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Are your fees still the same, or have you raised them along with everyone else?
Well, there's inflation, BDA, and man's got to make a living.
Well, don't worry. The people are telling us that Trump's going to solve everything. It's going to go back to 1950s America. But yeah, man, listen, good job yesterday. It was a good party, a watch party at your Discord last night. It was very, when you were losing your shit, when you started screaming, oh man, that was fun, man. But yeah, so just to maybe tell the people out there, what are your thoughts now that you've had a little time to think about it, about Jaron and his performance?
Well, first off, when you said the passion of the Soberz, that was hella funny. But as far as the fight, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking of how to put it into words. When two guys fight, the superior, I was trying to say this yesterday, the superior boxer makes the adjustments, and you see it in the next fight.
Right.
And you got to think, you ask yourself, what did Jaron Ennis do? What adjustments did he make from this fight between rounds? I didn't see any. He fought the same fight that he fought in the first fight, and he made no adjustments mid-fight. And this guy, Karen, he was the one that changed up his style. In the first fight, he used his superior footwork to stay away and minimize the damage. And then the rematch, he said, okay, I'm going to use my footwork, but I'm going to start throwing my hands. And he was landing left hook after left hook, right hands. He was catching Jaron Ennis. If he was a heavier puncher, if he was a bigger dude, I think he probably would have put him on his ass. So for me, I think Jaron Ennis is I don't think that was a good fight. Looking back on some of the stuff that happened before this fight, he had the negotiations with Brian Norman Jr. that fell through. They said there he was being lowballed, and then Stanionis said he was being lowballed. Barrios said he was being lowballed. So there's some controversy about, like, okay, what's this guy trying to do? He says he wants to unify, but is he trying to fight these champions, and then he's gonna rematch the dude who supposedly he 12-0'd last time, right? So that didn't make sense. Everyone was expecting a knockout. He came in, and I think he lost. I think Karen really outfought him this time, and he outboxed him. So I think he was embarrassed. Obviously, they gave him the win, right? There's no way that he was gonna win unless he got knocked. There's no way Karen was gonna win unless he knocked him out. But yeah, I think it was just a bad look for Ennis. But honestly, the fight was fun. The fight was really good, right? I liked the fight. I enjoyed the fight. But it's kind of it shouldn't have been that good. You know what I mean? This guy's supposed to be future pound for pound #1, and this guy right here is making you win life and death with a dude named Karen.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, listen, I can't argue with that. But I will say though that it's interesting that you mentioned that the first fight, people say, well, he ran, Karen ran, and so that's why Jaron Ennis looked bad. Well, now he didn't run, and so what's the excuse now? You know what I mean? It's. I mean, this dude stood in front of you. He's not a power puncher, and yet he was able to go the 12 rounds. Now, I want to ask you because people were making a big deal out of this during your watch party or whatever you want to call it. What did you think of Harvey Duck, the referee?
Oh man, he was on. I didn't, bro. Thank you. I didn't even think about that. I forgot all about that. Harvey Duck was ignoring all the low blows that Ennis was doing. I compared Jaron Ennis to Errol Spence before, right? I said he's just Errol Spence, but a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little bit more athletic. But they're just guys who want to come inside and bang it out. And when they start losing, just like when Errol Spence was getting pieced up by Sean Porter, they get dirty. They start going low. And he was banging the shit out of Karen's nuts. and then the referee takes a point from Karen. Like, what was going on?
Yeah, I thought clinching was.
He got about 3 warnings. He got like 3 warnings in that fight, BDA. You're not supposed to get 3 warnings for the same thing.
I thought clinching was part of the game. I thought that was like the sweet science, right? Like Tim Bradley always says, "Oh, nice tie up by this that," and then now all of a sudden it's now all of a sudden it's this guy's a bitch for clinching. Well, I mean, we've been trying to tell that people that for years, but now all of a sudden I've given up. I'm like, yeah, clinch all you want now. Now all of a sudden it's bad. Now all of a sudden it deserves a point deduction. I mean, I don't know what people are thinking. By the way, shout out to Fu TV, aka that's Julio. This dude, we're watching the fight on your Discord, and this dude, every punch. Look, listen. Were there some low blows? Yeah, I'd have to rewatch how many. Some of them seem borderline. Every punch from Jaron Ennis was a borderline shot. And then he's like, nothing's landing. And then I'm watching Jaron Ennis land some good shots, and he's like, nothing's landing. What the fuck? So you got that's what was funny, man. You had I'm your leader in there. You had there was you screaming, Dora losing his shit. Well, I mean, he's already lost it, so I guess that's a more technical term. Just being him. Who else was there screaming? I mean, Quags was there, Night Murph. I mean, it was fun, man. It was fun watching, and like you said, it was a fun fight. So. One thing we can say about Jaron Ennis is he brings it. He's not going to run around the ring. He's not going to pity-pat, run around the ring, clinch, shake his ass. He's going to try to knock a guy out. But that's the other thing. Okay, I was having this conversation with Bucho, and he says he doesn't think Ennis' power is all that. What do you think? How would you rate Jaron Ennis' power?
I think it depends on where we're rating it at. At 147, I think he has good power. He's already went 12 rounds with the guy with Chukhadzhian. So kind of how you've seen Berlanga get used to Canelo's power at the end of their fight. I think Karen got used to Boots' power, and that's how he was able to really go toe to toe with him like that. And really he just he knows how to use his feet, and he was rolling the shots well. He had really good defense. But at 147, I still think he could hurt most of the dudes. So I think at 147 he has decent power. At 154, we'll see. I think it'll be more evened up. I think he'll be a lot more vulnerable. If he gets hit by left hooks from guys like Boachuk or Murtazaliev, Ortiz, if he gets hit clean like he was with those left hands and right hands against Karen at 154, I mean, I'd be more worried about the other guy's power more than his. You know what I mean? But at 147, I think he can stop, pretty much everybody probably.
Right.
It's a dead division. It's a dead division.
It really, it really is looking like, it's a wasteland. Mario Barrios, I mean, come on, he's too busy banging away to Omar Figueroa's sister. Stanionis is too busy still signing with the PBC, not learning his lesson. He wants to
Bend the knee.
yeah, he wants to squander his career. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with him. So who else is it? And then you got Brian Norman, who's doing filing tax returns and, crunching the numbers, going, do I really want to fight Jaron? I want to max out my return and blah, blah, blah. I said, come on, man. I dare say, he's turning into a, certain member of a certain tribe, desert tribe that they're very good with numbers, So I don't know. He's crunching the numbers, trying to figure out if it's worth it. So yeah, move up to 154. Now, what else was I going to say about this fight? Oh, yeah. Did you see Blair Cobbs calling Jaron Ennis out after the fight in the press conference?
No.
Well, he showed up at the press conference and he was saying, doing the woo thing. And he's saying he's the guy who's beaten the biggest names in the welterweight division, talking about Adrian Broner. And, yeah, he's looking for a fight, but I mean, hey, I think he's serious. I think he wants to fight Jaron Ennis. I think Jaron Ennis whoops him. But again, at this point, I think Jaron Ennis has proven that he's not what. And you know what, Soberz, I think this is I was taking the opportunity to tell people that when people talk about overhyped or exposed, whatever, usually it varies because you gotta focus on, well, who was calling this guy? Who was hyping this guy up? How many people were hyping him up? Was he really a hype job? With Jaron Ennis, he was being hyped up a lot. Like Shakur Stevenson, the fans were hyping him up, the establishment was hyping him up, and of course his promoters were hyping him up. So would it be fair to say that maybe you can use the word expose here a little bit?
I'd say more than that because I think
right?
Chukhadzhian exposed him the first time.
And
then you rematch him, you're supposed to knock the guy out. The dude who ran from you for 12 rounds, who you 12-0'd, how does he switch up his style a little bit and now you're going life and death with him? He's catching you, making you stumble around the ring. BDA, he knocked him back on his heels a couple times.
Yeah, he did. He rocked him.
The thing is, Boots is so big at that weight class. So it's like his style, he's like just used to barreling through that with his opponents. And it's like, dude, when the guys are your size or they're a little bit bigger than you, you're gonna get your shit rocked.
Yeah. And like some people are saying, yeah, but maybe, Karen is the guy. Maybe Karen's better than people gave him credit for. I mean, Avenesian was tagging Ennis clean as well. Lipinets rocked him for a little while there. That Dominican guy that early on in his career rocked Jaron Ennis, had him falling onto the rope. So it's not, in this case, yeah, Karen is good. But I don't think it's the case that people are making it to be like, this dude is a monster himself. Nah, man. You can look at other fights and see Jaron Ennis making the same mistakes that he made in this fight. So is Karen better than Virgil Ortiz and Madrimov? Because Madrimov does something similar to the Karen, and he hits way harder with both hands. So it's, if people want to keep believing that what's his name, the Karen really is that monster, I don't know, man. By the way, there was also action on the zone last night in the undercard. Raymond Ford was able to notch an easy decision over Orlando Gonzalez, who was mostly on the defensive after getting hurt earlier in the fight. I think he got dropped twice in that fight, but just Raymond Ford just couldn't put the punches together, couldn't chase him down. Couldn't pull off that Mexican style. But he seems to be hitting harder at 130 now. He's at 130 now. What do you think about his performance there, Soberz?
I think he did pretty well. I don't think Raymond Ford's that bad. You're saying his power. I don't know if his power is there yet, but I think he's gonna have some good scraps at 130. Maybe against Valdez, Navarrete. You know what I mean? I think he can have some good. Oshaki Foster.
No, I mean, no.
There's some good fights for him at that weight class.
That Raymond Ford, Ford versus whatchamacallit, Oshaki Foster would be. I don't think that would be too fun. By the way, people are saying that I said the wrong. Did I say the wrong card? I thought I said the zone
Which
card.
one?
I said the same card, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what people are talking about.
Yeah, there's more action. Did you see the one with Gallegos and dang, I forgot homeboy's name.
Cole or Cohen or some Jewish name?
Khalil Cole.
Cole, yeah. Yeah, that was a good fight. Didn't that dude?
That was a really good fight.
Did that Mexican dude lose to Pacheco? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, Pacheco knocked him out at 168, but he went up a weight class to 175. And then I seen the records, and I seen this guy Khalil Cole had 9 fights. I'm like, damn, he kind of they must have believed in this guy's ability to put him in there with this dude, or they must have seen that he got knocked out by Pacheco at a smaller weight class.
Yeah, the pro ranks are no joke, man. I mean, you can look good. Yeah, the pro ranks are no joke, man. You can look good for 3-4 rounds, but then you got to keep going after that, and you're getting hit on your shoulders, your arms with this 10-ounce gloves.
Did you see after he knocked him out, BD? And also his corner did him a disservice, bro. He was done. I can't remember what round it was. It was near the end of the fight, but it was obvious he was done. They were asking him if he wanted to keep going. The referee was kind of trying to convince the corner to stop it, and they kept asking him, "You want to keep going? You want to keep going?" And it's unfair, you know, because I mean, if he looks like a look what Andrade did when they asked him if he wanted to keep going. He said, "Nah, stop it." He looked like a total bitch. You know, the whole point of your corner is they don't ask you what you want to do; they just do it for you to save, you know, to help your pride and shit. They gotta save you from yourself.
Well, yeah,
and they kept pressing him about it, and he said, "No."
Yeah, I got to give him credit for that. He said no. He refused to give up, man. Refused to lose, and
then he 5 seconds later, BDA, when the round started, Gallegos came up and knocked him out with the left hook.
I mean,
so it's like, yo, they sent him out there, you know.
I mean, listen, he went out on his shield, man. I gotta respect that. Andrade, by the way, Andrade never said. Right. Andrade never said fuck it. Never said. He just stayed silent, which is the tacit way of saying, yeah, pull me out.
No, Andrade said no. He said stop it.
I never heard that. He just stayed silent, and
it's audio. There's audio.
There's audio. Audio in your head, or like actual audio in the objective world?
No, BDA. I can send you the video, bro.
Please do that. Right? Please do that, because I had people telling me that
and he didn't quit. You're gonna have to apologize after that.
I will never apologize because I didn't insult you or anything. But yeah, listen, I gotta listen to that, because I was always people. There were some people telling me, no, he didn't quit. He didn't quit. It's like, well, if he said he quit, then now I gotta hear that. But listen, I know a guy when a guy quits when I see it. You know, if they stay silent, you want to go, and the guy just stays silent. I mean, come on, what's he trying to tell you? He's not telling you he wants to continue. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. Hey, by the way, are we coming on to the 1-year anniversary of Benavidez beating Andrade? Or did that already happen? When was that fight? I think it was in November, right? Or was it in October?
Oh, I'm not good with dates.
Well, whatever. I still rewatch that fight every once in a while. That dude took 2 rounds of 2 hard rounds, and that was enough for him to quit. Unbelievable. That's why I respect guys like that Ko guy yesterday. You could tell he was exhausted, could barely throw a punch. He's like, nah, man, maybe I can still pull it out with 1 shot. Meanwhile, Andrade. Well,
no, you're right.
You
he saw the fight to its conclusion. That was.
Hold on, let me listen to this clip.
But Benavidez, the younger, fresher, hungry of the two. Help me. Help. I'm not gonna watch that. Of the two. Help me. Help. Nigga. Guys, I'm not gonna watch that again. All right. And the fight is. I'm not gonna watch that again. All right.
You can see he says it quietly. He says stop the fight himself.
Really?
You know?
Huh. Maybe. I can't show the people the video, but I'm going to have to zoom in and really look into it, man. I'm going to have to use the same software that I use to zoom in and clean pixels and all that, make a clean image that I use with other films, if you know what I mean, of a more artistic nature. But I'll use those. I'll use that technology on this clip to see if you really mouth it, pull me out, or I'm done or whatever. Anything else we want to say about the zone card? About Jaron Ennis or?
No, it was a pretty good card. I enjoyed it, and with Jaron Ennis, I'm interested to see what he does next, because he was saying that he'll move up to one. There's that 5v5, right? The Matchroom versus Golden Boy BDA, and Eddie Hearn had kind of already preemptively accepted a fight with Virgil Ortiz for Jaron Ennis, right? So he was already saying yes before the fight with Karen. And then at the press conference, he was saying, look, I'm going to present the options. I think this is the best option. It's up to them to make the decision. You know, and he's like, it depends on the money, blah blah blah, the financial package. You know, but
financial package. They're talking like they're talking like they're gonna let a lawyer go from a firm, one of the partners, and they're gonna give him a substantial package. And I was like, what are you doing, man? It's a fight. Just make him an offer and let's get on with it. Especially with the Sheik in charge, doling out beaucoup money. That should be easy to make. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, Harvey Dog, one last thing. Somebody in the chat mentioned that Harvey Dog did not deduct any points for clinching in the Ryan Garcia-Devin Haney fight, which included clinching from both guys. No points deducted there. In this one, all of a sudden, he has an aversion to clinching. I mean, that's what I hate. The rules are supposed to be applied across the board. No exceptions like, well, maybe this time I'm not going to apply them. Come on, what are you doing? Harvey Dog is starting to... I don't want to say it, but some people were saying it. He might be turning into the next Kenny Bayless, the guy that they call in to favor the A side.
I mean, he's not the first Kenny Bayless. He's just, just himself. You know what I mean? You know how these fighters, these referees are. They're bought and paid for. They have their favorites, and they be looking out for the home team. You know what I mean, BDA? If they're not feeling you, if you don't got enough melanin.
Oh, come on! Now, wait a minute. Hey, by the way, I'm Real Leader also sent me another clip of Andrade supposedly mouthing. Hold on, let me see.
He says it, bro. You hear it.
Oh yeah, he did say. Well, I can't show people this. He's shaking his head no, and it looks like he's saying I'm done or stop it. 2 rounds this guy took. 2 rounds. Caleb Plant took a whole 6 rounds of a beating in the latter part of the fight. And he stayed in there. This dude, 2 rounds. I think I pulled a groin muscle. I think I pulled my taint. Take me out of here.
That's what I'm saying. How bad does that make him look when he says out his mouth like, "No, I'm done"?
Yeah. Maybe
the corner has to be like, "Bro, you're done. I'm pulling you out."
Exactly. Yeah, man. Listen, it's apparent now why he hasn't fought in over a year, and it's not because he's with the PBC plan, which is 1 fight every 2 years. No, it's probably because he doesn't want it anymore. By the way, shout out to Double L for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Doc, okay, he's the one that said it, yeah. Doc took no points from Gainey for holding. I mean, you could say the same thing. Garcia was holding too. And remember, Garcia in the Haney fight was doing the bussy roll, where he clinches, turns his back, spread his ass cheeks, and then bends over. And again, no point.
That's the Victorville shell, BDA.
the Victorville show. Oh man, can you imagine trying the? How does he practice that? How does he do it so seamlessly? That is bizarre. I don't want.
The secret is you don't.
I mean, listen. I don't know. I think the lawyer taught him that. Except that when he taught him that, they were dressed in they were wearing different type of clothing, if you know what I mean. But listen, shout out to Double L. And yeah, Harvey Dog, we're watching you. We're not just watching these judges. We're watching the referees as well. And Harvey Dog with his, I don't know, Harvey Dog, hopefully we're not going to see more hijinks from him, but we're watching you. And I know you're watching us too with those ecstasy, LSD, acid tripped eyes. Look at him. Soberz, I don't think you can see it because I'm not sharing the screen with it, but the hell is this guy doing? He's trying to peer into your soul. Anyway, okay, let's talk about the Friday card, because there was another Friday card. And yes, I know which network it took place in. There's people in the chat think I'm old and out of touch. Top Rank, ESPN. You had Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn. I think I'm just going to call him Keyshawn to sound hipper. Keyshawn or Key. I'm going to start calling him Key.
Just call him Key. Just call him Key.
Yeah, Key, what's up? You get the keys to the kingdom, yo. But yeah, Keyshawn Davis looking very good against Gustavo Lemos, who'd actually thought he beat Craig Richards last year, or was it earlier this year? I forget. Meanwhile, Key had the keys to the kingdom. He had the key to unlock the complicated lock that is the Argentinian little scrappy Gustavo Lemos. Takes him out in 2 rounds. He looked like a power puncher in there. Soberz, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this fight.
Well, I was expecting a lot more from Gustavo Lemos, right? But he missed weight by like 6 pounds. And I was talking to people about it. And the whole question about it is, okay, why did he miss 6 pounds? Was it calculated or was it just unprofessionalism? And I said, okay, we're gonna have to see in the fight. And I was thinking it was calculated. He wanted to come heavy, and he really wanted to put hands on Keyshawn. I thought he beat Richardson Hitchens from pillar to post last year, so I thought he was going to give a lot better fight to Keyshawn Davis. And I don't want to say it was just complete unprofessionalism, because then I'm going to take away some of Davis's credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he looked good in there, bro. He blasted him out. He knocked the shit out of him. And Lemos, he kind of just probably, you know what it is, bro? He probably just showed up to get his money, and he said, you know what? Don't rock the. You know what? I said I'm not gonna hate on him, but I am gonna hate on him. They told him, look, bro, don't rock the boat. Just come get paid, and don't hurt our boy. Lemos said, if I'm gonna take a dive, I don't even need to make weight. So that's why I blew the weight.
Well, maybe. It sounds plausible, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I will say this. First of all, yeah, I made a mistake. Shout out to everybody who corrected me. Richardson Hitchens, who sometimes I even when I get his last name right, sometimes I still I get it wrong. So
you said Craig Richards.
Yeah, I know. That's a different super middleweight dude, right? Or light heavyweight. So no. I'm talking about.
Isn't he English?
Yeah, he's a Brit, possibly of Jamaican origin. You know, all those guys over there, they're either from the Caribbean or Nigeria. But the point is this. Listen, Keyshawn Davis looked good because when Hitchens fought Lemos, he was trying to jab, trying to run him into something, and sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to stand your ground and go for it. And you know, Bucho made a good point. He said, "Look at the hype that knockout created from Keyshawn Davis." Well, okay, we know ESPN is going to hype him up, Bradley and that other dude. He's the greatest fighter ever. You know, it's like, what? I mean, they didn't say that, but they might as well have the way they were lathering him up. But you know, he deserved praise for stopping a guy that Hitchens couldn't, you know, the Hitchens got to give decision over. And Bucho was making a good point. He says, imagine if it would have been a 12-round snooze fest. Touch, move, touch, clinch, touch, run for 30 seconds, then touch again, then clinch, shake your ass. Nobody would have, you know, we have enough of those. We have Haney, we have Shakur Stevenson. No. You got to go in there and you got to create a big drama show, like Gennady Golovkin would say. And look, now you got some people saying, because I made the rounds here, looking at message boards and comment sections and all that. Some people are saying, man, Tank Davis better watch out. For real, on God. And I'm thinking, whoa, hold your horses there. But what my point is, it's created that type of hype now, that type of mystique. And Keyshawn Davis has been calling out Davis for a while. Now, here's the interesting thing about Gervonta Davis. We know he's volatile. We know he's impulsive. His criminal record shows that. He closed his Twitter account after Keyshawn's performance, Keyshawn Davis's performance. I'm not going to address him by his first name. Soberz, what do you make of this?
He closed his Twitter account?
That's right.
You
think it has something to do with court or something? Or?
I don't know if that would have anything to do with Key, you know what I mean? But maybe he felt the incoming online assault coming of people telling him, this dude's going to whoop your ass, he'll whoop your ass, you'll never fight him. Because if you look at Lemos and Davis, they kind of have similar dimensions. You know what I mean? So you could say like, oh, what if Key can make you look like that in the ring? Which you looking fishing for overhand lefts all the time. So maybe he just said, you know what, I'm not gonna even deal with this. Maybe his baby mom was shitting on his phone or something on the toothbrushes again. Who knows?
I tell you what. Come on. You had to go there with the toothbrushes. You know what I think happened? I think Tank Davis found out that the key must fit the lock, and so I think he's changing locks right now. I think that's what he's doing. But look, listen. Keyshawn Davis, the guy that he was fighting, Gustavo Lemos, he gave Hitchens hell, but he's also a midget. So you're supposed to be handling a guy, even if he failed to make weight or didn't try to make weight, whatever. I think people are going a little bit overboard. I mean, I'm happy that it was a knockout. Again, I'm much more happier with that than if it would have been a 12-round snooze fest. However, let's not forget, this is the dude that got rocked by what was his name? Albright, a guy that Jermaine Ortiz beat not that long ago. And this dude was rocking Davis's world. So Tank Davis, you know my position on this. He is overrated. Perhaps one of the most overrated guys out there. You know, people putting him top 5 pound for pound and all that. He's another guy like Jaron Ennis, gets hit way more than he should when he tries to be offensive. And then when he gets on the defensive, he only throws one shot at a time. And, you know, that works in low-level opposition. But when you step up, what's going to happen? But nevertheless, he still hits very hard. And, there's guys out there like Keyshawn Davis who've never felt that type of power before. How will they react? We saw what happened with Frank Martin. Frank Martin had speed, he had power, he had reflexes. He started panicking when Gervonta Davis started putting it on him, and he fell apart.
Well, what if those knockouts are have something to do with his opponent's weight?
Well,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
What if he hits a fully hydrated opponent, and just like how Chukhadzhian was taking Ennis's punches, and you're like, wow, kind of calling his power into question a little bit. What if someone like Key can do that to someone like G?
Someone like G. Well, it remains to be seen. I would like
GTD.
All right, come on. GTD sounds like a video game, or a brand of a video card for your PC. But look, listen, I don't know. Keyshawn Davis, Bucho said the same thing because we were talking about that. He says, well, listen, why not make Keyshawn Davis for Gervonta Davis? How long are you going to wait around with this kid? And I'm thinking, look, I want to see him against a puncher. I want to see him. By the way, that's the other thing. They're saying they're probably going to put him in there against Berenchik, or that dude that beat Navarrete, the Ukrainian guy, which he could be good. I mean, he's a southpaw. He's mobile, kind of like Gervonta Davis. So perhaps that's the plan here, or the logic behind it.
Lomachenko light.
Lomachenko light, yeah.
Light.
But that's the thing. Lomachenko hits harder than that dude, and Davis definitely hits harder than Berenchik. So I don't know. It's still a good fight, but and by the way, Gervonta Davis, my theory on why he closed it down, two things. Maybe it has something to do with he's been saying that the judge is after him. I think he tweeted that recently again because he thinks the judge is after him for no reason, just to be on his ass. Maybe that's why he deleted it, to maybe delete the trail. Or I think the negative comments get to him more than they should. And if that's the case, get off Twitter, man. If you can't handle it, get off Twitter. You don't need to be out there threatening people, threatening to rape girls. You remember he was threatening to rape someone, I think, allegedly? He was
something like to turn out someone's sister or some shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what are you doing, man? You think he's still in probation or parole? What's it, one of those, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can't go around threatening to assault people.
He should be in jail.
Now, wait a minute. Recognize, come on now. Let's not... I'm
just saying, if that was me and you, we'd be in prison right now.
Well, I got a couple of contacts, so maybe I wouldn't be.
Okay. I'll be in prison.
Yeah, you definitely would, and Soberz too. I mean,
BDA is like, I've done worse.
Come on, now, wait a minute. But hey, so before we move on here, because I was gonna open up the phone lines here. Recognize, what did you make? Did you watch the Jaron Ennis fight? That's a no then. All right. He's giving me the Android treatment. He's staying silent. Doesn't want to admit that he did.
Stop the fight.
Yeah, stop the fight. Stop the fight. What else? Oh yeah, Abdullah Mason also fought. He fought some Mexican who looked like the bad guy from The Quest.
Oh.
Remember the Mongolian from The Quest with the bald head and so he fights that.
The one who killed John Claude Van Damme's brother or something.
Sorry about that, BDA. I was on mute the whole time. Fucking pieces garbage.
I mean, don't blame technology for your lack of understanding. Come on now.
Yo, BDA, since you brought up Abdullah Mason.
Hold on. One at a time. First, before we move on to the Mason thing, let's get recognized. Did you watch the Jaron Ennis fight?
I watched the highlights from the zone, and I gotta be honest with you, that man, Ennis better tighten up on that defense. His ring IQ is not that good. He throws a lot of big shots. He gets caught with punches in between. Now, I don't know much about that Karen kid, but he doesn't seem like a big puncher. And I was saying to myself, man, the way he was getting pieced up while throwing punches, right? So getting caught in between him throwing punches, I was like, man, if somebody with some good power, it could be a different ballgame. It could be a total different ballgame. He's explosive. He's fun to watch too.
Absolutely.
But I think that guy Karen, he's pretty good too. He's got decent footwork, actually really good footwork, and he creates punches with his footwork. But Jaron, man, bro, if that was somebody else with power, if that kid had more power, he puts you down. At the very least, he puts your ass down. Don't even talk about Crawford. All right, Crawford would knock you out for sure.
You know, I was talking about with the people and then Soberz afterwards. After that, about how some people use the term exposed or hype job, or sometimes they use both of them together in a sentence. And I said, well, hype job and exposed depends on how hyped up a guy was and by which entities. Sometimes fans hype up a guy, but the promoters or the writers, the boxing journalists, don't. Sometimes it's all of them together. In this scenario, Jaron Ennis was a guy that his promoters were hyping him up. Obviously, they have to. The networks, the journalists, and the fans. So a lot of them were hyping this dude up as next coming. In fact, Ring Magazine recognized, I don't know if you know this, but a couple of months ago, they said that he was going to be the next pound-for-pound #1 king. The next pound-for-pound king. And I asked Soberz this, is the word exposed apropos here?
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Well, look, again,
look, like, what?
If you're one of these guys that thought he was gonna be like a pound for pound king, which he still might be maybe one day, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then he shouldn't have a problem with a guy like Karen, a guy he already fought with. And
recognize.
Seems like that guy did better in the fight.
You never know, bro. He might be the Ukrainian Floyd, and that just might be he just might be on his Canelo arc. He takes that loss and he comes back, conquering weight classes and shit.
Well, listen, yeah. I believe a leopard can change its spots. Sometimes there's too many spots to change, but I do believe I've seen it before. I've seen fighters change their spots. He's not in his mid-30s or anything, so I think at the very least he can improve on the defense. I don't think he's going to stay defensively irresponsible. I mean, if he does, then yeah, it's a dog-eat world out there, and other fighters thin the herd. It's the belly.
It seems like Jaron has the capability of like boxing on the outside, not running, just like boxing on the outside. Doing some movement side to side, not engage into too in close, because that seems like that's going to be his weak spot so far. Somebody with a big punch on the inside, catching him while he's throwing these haymakers, that could spell disaster for him.
Well, that's what I wanted to
get.
Against
a guy like Ryan Garcia. Yeah,
I mean, I think Ennis beats Garcia, but early it could be anything goes for a couple of rounds before Garcia finally decides, I'm gonna back it in. I just don't feel it today.
I'm gonna back it in.
I was gonna, but that's the thing. Recognize why. How would you characterize or describe what's going on with Ennis's defensive lapses? Because I just want to preface that by making a comparison. Arturo Gatti, when you say the name Gatti, you mean you think of wars and you think of him having no defense. But he did show flashes of defense and head movement when he wanted to. But then he would flash defense for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and all of a sudden the guy would land a flush 3-4 punch combo. Do some guys just freeze when they get hit, or what's going on here with Jaron Ennis?
Well, yeah, that happens. But I think with him, from what I've seen when he got hit by some big punches, it seems like he's almost seemed like he doesn't care what the opponent has. Right? He feels like he's stronger, and maybe that'll change against a guy that he perceives to be a big puncher, and maybe he'll show something different. But these are bad habits too. These are really bad habits. This is why I understand why fight a guy like Karen, right? And maybe you could say Karen did the adjustments, and the adjustments were better than Boots, but Boots is still good enough to beat him,
right?
In a second. So it could be one of them, but bro, if he's getting caught like that by guys like Virgil Ortiz, some of these bigger punchers, Terrence Crawford, you name it, they hurt him. They'll hurt him, and he will go down. And then it'll be a question whether or not he has the heart to come back from that.
I don't buy that whole. He doesn't respect his opponents, therefore I think it's just bad habits from fighting these smaller guys. Because look, Canelo has an iron chin. He doesn't just stay there and let guys punch him. He's
That's true.
trying to duck
That
as
is
much.
true.
He's trying to avoid as many shots as possible, and then get his back. This dude's standing there taking 3-4 punches, and I don't. Eddie Hearn said, "Well, it's because he's not motivated, and he feels like he can take the punches." I don't know about that, man. When you're getting your head rocked from side to side, nobody wants to feel that. Very few people actually are willing to take those type of shots.
But why would that be an excuse? He's not motivated. That's actually bad.
Exactly.
He should be motivated to go to the next level. Every performance should be like a display of why he's must-watch TV.
I mean, he had a chance to improve upon his performance from the last time, and he didn't. So we'll see what happens. He's still must-see TV. I still like the guy. He's not that. He's not one of those very talkative, vociferous.
He's fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's pretty explosive.
Hey, man,
he gets a little tired in the ending of rounds, but boy, he lets his hands go.
Yeah, just move up to 154 already and get those paydays against Ortiz and against Madrimov, Bohashuk, and I mean with the Turk spreading money all over the place. Yeah, sure, man. They can happen. They can happen. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to talk about Abdullah Mason, who a lot of people are high on him, undefeated 20-year-old prospect. Ended up fighting the guy from the Quest, a miniature version, and he got his ass dropped twice before coming back and then stopping said bad guy from Quest. Guys, what did you make of this performance? And again, some people are using the word expose, whatever. Well, what do you guys think?
So you were talking about how guys are overhyped and whoop-de-whoop. This guy, they were saying this guy could beat someone like Keyshawn Davis, after this fight. They're putting him up there already with guys like Gervonta Davis.
Whoa.
So this Abdullah Mason character, he got some things to work on, because the first left hook this dude throw, he put you on your ass, and he landed clean, and it was a smaller dude. You got like you said, the Quest haircut. You got this Mongolian guy. The Spice side with this Mongolian haircut dropping you, that's embarrassing. And he's lucky that dude twisted his ankle when Mason dropped him, right? Because after that, he was kind of hobbling. And he dropped Mason immediately afterwards. And right before he got dropped the second time himself, he rocked Mason one more time. So this dude was in danger, and he's lucky he's lucky this guy was a little bit younger and not maybe more willing to go toe-to-toe and trade knockdowns with him. Because it might have been ugly. But it was a fun fight, dude. But, I mean, obviously, he got some shit to work on. And he's going to be vulnerable. He's going to look like food now to anybody who's a puncher.
Yeah, I understand they have to. I understand they have to hype a guy up and say, he's the next big thing and all that. I get that. However, I'll say this, man. He's 20 years old. I remember De La Hoya when he had those, fighting at 130, 135 early in his career. He had those chicken legs. He got dropped twice, I believe, in different fights. Once in different fights, and afterwards, he never really, it took him a couple more years to hit the deck, and that was against a power puncher in Corte at welterweight. So, it's not the end of the world, but it's a learning process too. But yeah, it's that's why all this overhyping a guy can backfire, because so many people end up believing it, and then a guy has a performance like, look, it's one thing to get hit a little bit here, maybe get dropped once, but the fact he got dropped twice and didn't learn his lesson from the first time, yeah, that is an indication that he should probably be sharpening up his tool set right off the bat.
Well, it's also a good thing for fighters to happen when they're young. You got to get baptized in fire, and they can't be something that happens to them later on when they're in a championship bout, and then they won't know how to react. So, maybe I'm being a little critical, but because he is 20 years old, so, he knocked the guy out. But, I mean, that's going to be a flaw people are going to be looking at. They're going to be looking at, they're going to think, if I catch him clean, I could probably drop him.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to have all that speed and power and skill set, but it's also about, like I keep saying, the professional ranks, this is a different world from the amateurs. Now you're fighting dudes that are going to be swinging for the fences. So guys are trained hard at the punching bag, developing punching power. And when you're wearing those 8-ounce gloves, it can get difficult in there. Easy for guys to panic.
Well, the amateur game is a point game, and then the professionals is a hurt game. So, yeah, like you're saying, it's a lot different.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, it's like going from one type of erotic film to another. One of them is points, the other one it can hurt depending on your fees. Now, I want to say something else too, man. Shout out to Josh for his contribution with the super. By the way, the phone lines are open. case anybody wants to call in, make sure to do that. I want to give a shout out to Josh for his contribution with the super chat. He says, hold on a second, what's he saying? He says, Abdullah Mason got exposed. There you go, the word exposed. Abdullah Mason got exposed by a guy with a lower boxer ranking than Jake Paul. He's an athlete, but he has no structural integrity. I don't know what that means by structural integrity, but listen, he's a 20-year-old kid. He's a kid at 20 years old. He's still learning. Let's see what happens when he's 24. Although, you know what? Yeah, keep him away from big punches right now. Like, remember that dude that was fighting, speaking of Jake Paul, on that Jake Paul undercard, H2O. Remember that dude? I forget his name, but his name is H2O. He fought that Canadian guy.
Something like that.
Yeah, he fought that Canadian power puncher, and he was beating up the Canadian for 7-8 rounds or something. Then all of a sudden, boom, one overhand right, follow-up left hook, and that's all she wrote. H2O got dried up. So, yeah, man, sometimes you gotta take it easy with this guy. That guy was 20 years old too, I think. They put him up right there real quick.
Yeah, body caught a body that night.
Yeah, man. The other fight that took place, and this is on the Zone card. Yes, I got my info right here. Bam Rodriguez. That's Jesse Bam Rodriguez at 115. Taking on Pedro Guevara. Was that the guy's name? Guevara? And it was, it was looking... It was looking like it was going to be a good fight for a while there. So it was going to be interesting. And then he ended up taking him out in... how many rounds was it, right, Soberz? Do you know?
I think it was 3.
3 rounds?
It was quick.
Well, let's see
he
if
took him out quick.
Look at this.
Bam Rodriguez looked really impressive.
Yeah, 3 rounds. There you go. Shout out to Soberz. Yeah, you were impressed with Bam?
Yeah, I was going to say, he was the only guy who really, on that card, who showed up and did what he was supposed to do. Khalil Cole got knocked out. Raymond Ford couldn't knock out that guy. He was supposed to be levels above. And, then what happened with Karen and Boots happened. So I really think that Bam Rodriguez is the only person who showed up and did what he was supposed to do. He knocked that guy out. It was a really nice uppercut. He made his chin, face the ceiling with it. And he had, that delayed knockdown. It was nice. And also one thing too, I would say Bam stole the show because people were leaving before the Jaron Ennis fight. Was over, and they took pictures of it. And then I seen someone posted on Twitter people are leaving before the 12th because they know that Chukhadzhian is just here to survive. He's not trying to fight. And I was like, what a disingenuous cope! What a narrative you're trying to drive, bro. But,
yeah, man.
Yeah, people were leaving that fight. I think Bam stole the show.
He definitely did, and this dude has been stealing shows for a while now. I mean, he is the show because he knows how to put on pressure. See, Jaron Ennis wants to know how to put pressure on. He should watch Bam Rodriguez because that's the way you do it. You inch your way forward, you put your guard up, and you work on countering off of the other guys' counters. And for a while there, it looked like it was going to be a difficult fight for Bam Rodriguez. That the other dude was swinging to the body, and Guevara's never been dominated before, but Bam Rodriguez just too much power at 115. He was a hard hitter at 112. Now 115, he still has it. That being said, I think people started overrating him a little bit more than they should have, because I've always been high on the guys. Well, not always, but after the Won Jong Kam fight, that's when I said, "Whoa, this dude is dangerous." And then, of course, after the Sonny Edwards fight. However, I do think people are, because this goes into the whole overhyping aspect. The people at the Zone, and they have to overhype him, it's their job, but they kept mentioning Inoue. What do you think, Sergio? You think he's ready for Inoue? You think that Inoue is fighting at 122? This dude just recently moved back to 115. I mean, these people are insane.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me when Inoue beat Fulton. They're like, "Yeah, you ready for Davis?" Let's pump the brakes, okay? Let's bring up guys that are within at least one weight class of them, or maybe a champion in their weight class. Let's do that. I don't like when I don't like that. They everybody expects the weight classes are there for a reason, and jumping them is not as easy. Just because some fighters do it, not everybody can do it. It's not as easy as it looks. So yeah, I don't like that. That's dumb.
I hate to have to do this because people know I've been high on Bam Rodriguez and I still am. However, I do see some people overhyping him a little bit, by mentioning Inoue. It's like, oh, the only guy that can beat him is Inoue. First of all, like some people in the chat are saying, you got Nakatani at 118. So he doesn't have to go all the way up to 122 to find a challenger. You got Nakatani. Then on top of it, you got Fernando Puma Martinez in that very weight division, 115, who just recently, well, not recently, but this year beat Ioka. So I don't understand why people are always saying like, well, by saying that he needs to move up all the way to 122 pounds, you are in fact, I'm talking to the people out there who do so, overhyping Bam Rodriguez. I want to remind people that there is a bit of a mirage going on here. When Bam Rodriguez, two of his best wins, Won Jong Kam and Estrada, were against older guys. In Estrada's case, I think he'd only fought once in 2 years. He was rusty as hell. Sonny Edwards, that's a good win against a young guy, but it's a young guy who can crack. I want to remind people that Israel Gonzalez gave Bam Rodriguez hell. And Bam Rodriguez actually had to... He landed some low blows in that fight. I don't know if intentionally or not, but whatever. He landed some low blows. And Gonzalez was keeping him at range with combinations, throwaway shots, and Bam Rodriguez looked human in that one. And then another Gonzalez, Christian Gonzalez, at 112, ended up fracturing his jaw and sideline him for a while. So Bam Rodriguez is not invincible. So for people to say that, oh, he 118, move up to 122 to fight Inoue, forget Inoue. Inoue is going to be moving up to 126 one of these days. So put Bam in there, let him keep working. Let's see if he can beat Martinez, which I think obviously I would pick Bam to do so, but it's not a gimme fight. Martinez is strong. He puts combinations together, hits very hard. What do you think, Soberz?
He's younger. He's younger than most of his opponents. That's the thing with Bam. A lot of the guys, someone made a joke about him fighting, I think Montiel. Like you're saying Puma, and they're like, he's too young. He's not old enough. So
yeah, man, listen.
People say, he likes to fight old guys.
Some people are saying, oh, hey, fight Chocolatito, who's only had one fight, I think, since he lost to Estrada, and that was in 2021. I think he's only had one fight since then. Soberz, do you agree with me that forget that fight? Let's see him in against Martinez. That's the fight to make.
Yeah, that's a much better fight. I get the Roman Gonzalez fight would look crazy on his resume, so I can get that. But there's the Puma fight would be much better. Much more competitive. This guy will actually bring the heat, and that'd be a much more entertaining fight.
Because I want to remind people and in fact, if you look at the Most Shocking Moments documentary that we made, the volume 1, there's a similar thing that happened with a guy named Chad Dawson, if you guys remember him, from about 14 years ago. He outboxed Bernard Hopkins. He outboxed Antonio Tarver. He outboxed Glenn Johnson. What did all those guys have in common? They were way older than he was. They were all-time greats. Well, Glenn Johnson maybe not all-time great, but top guy in the division. But they were older, way older, significantly older. And Chad Dawson, speedy southpaw, was able to outbox him. He goes in there against Jean Pascal in Pascal's hometown, finally fights a guy his age who's as quick as he is, and ended up getting out-hustled and lost his championship. So sometimes, it's you're fighting these older guys, you might be getting a false image of what you really are. But, again, he beat Sonny Edwards and Guevara, who are younger guys. And he did beat Christian Gonzalez. It's not like he lost that fight. However, he looked human against Christian Gonzalez. He ended up getting his jaw fractured. So what I'm saying is, hold your horses about this whole Inoue thing. Forget about Inoue. He's too big at this point. Focus on Fernando Martinez. That's the fight to make.
It's because it's like a bit of ignorance, BDA. They're acting like the only good fight for him is going to be only to go up. No, there's plenty of smoke at your weight class and at the weight class above you.
That's right.
Junto Nakatani and Bam, bro, I wouldn't favor him in that fight.
No. Forget Inoue. That's a mismatch for Inoue. And Nakatani, it's still a difficult proposition because it's a different weight class. The logical one is Fernando Martinez. And I think Martinez is too wide open. I think Rodriguez's shorter hooks and shots would make the difference, but it wouldn't be easy because this Martinez guy is a beast. If anyone hasn't ever seen him fight, man, you got to watch this guy fight. He's a problem too. But yeah, forget the 118.
Like a little Wolverine.
He is, yeah, and like all I don't know what it is with these Argentinian fighters, but they always color their hair. They get the blues, or they get the orange, red hot orange, and whatever. It's like, well, come on, man, what are you doing? I don't understand what their fascination with coloring their hair is. But yeah, Puma Martinez, is that his nickname or is it Pumita, which is like little puma. He's 33, so again, he's no spring chicken, but he like Soberz said, he's younger than Wonjong Kam, that's for sure. I mean, excuse me, why do I call him Wonjong Kam? Fuck, the names. Sizraket Sorong Visa, yeah. Well, what's his other name?
Is that who you're trying to say?
Yeah, Sorong Visa. Sizraket Sorong Visa, but he's got a second name too, and then that's the one I was mixing up. It's Wisaksil Wong Gam.
No, you're making that up, BDA. Don't try to
he has two names. Seriously, he has two names. Look, I'm going to show you.
Come on.
I'm not crazy. I'm not on drugs. Which is what people on drugs always say. See, Wisaksil Wangek, alias Sizraket Sorong Visai. See that?
So that's not the name you were saying, though.
No, okay, okay, yeah, I was wrong with the Wonjong Kam thing, but I was correct. His real name is Wisaksil Wangek.
Well, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Well, there you go. I mean, the ties, I don't know what they. By the way, recognize, what does he keep jumping in and out? What's he doing?
I might have connection problems.
I don't think so. Not on this show. All right, let's go. Speaking of connection, we have a. Phone lines are open. Make sure to call in, everybody. Let's go to the phone lines here. Let's go to 210. 210, you're in the air. 210. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, BDA? It's Southpaw. Do I sound okay? I'm on the highway, bro.
Yeah, I can hear you on the highway there. Getting to the border, or coming from the border, or getting away from it? Or going to it, rather.
What do you have in your truck?
I gotta go meet a couple honeys, man. But no, man, I have fun this weekend, man. My guy Bam he's getting dominant. He's starting to get to an area where he's starting to like Inoue or like Triple G was when Triple G was like at its best, where they're just gonna steamroll guys and they're like nobody's gonna stand a chance. Like the prime Roy Jones, and he's getting into that kind of realm, and I don't think anybody's gonna be able to touch him. It just sucks that all the guys are old, the legends, but he can only fight who's there, right? I don't think he's ready to move up yet. He's still a young guy, so he's still got a lot of growing to do, and he's only going to get better. And that's the scary part. But yeah, that kid's from my subdivision down here in Texas, man. So I remember I used to be around him when he was a little amateur kid, and a lot of these other fighters were getting shine, and him and his brother Franco were just kind of like in the shadows. And now, Bam's pretty much the best fighter San Antonio's ever produced already at 24. Better than Jesse James Leija, better than, Barrios. I mean, no disrespect to those guys, but he's already, it's crazy that he's already reached that level and he's so young. So I'm happy for the kid. I know his dad.
You're saying it makes up for a living in San Antonio.
Oh, hey, yeah. I mean, I live right outside. I don't live here no more. I live outside, man. But yeah, it's a badass fight town. It's the best fight town in Texas, I think, because San Antonio they have the as far as Mexicans and Mexican Americans per capita, it's number 2 behind LA. Other than LA, San Antonio has the most Mexican Americans, and it's the 6th largest city in the country. So we don't have an NFL team, so there's not a lot of they should put more events here. I don't know why they don't. They used to, but it needs to come back. But anyways, yeah, man. I was hearing what you were saying about the referee, about Harvey Dock, and man, I fucking knew it, dude. He's gonna be the new role player, the new Kenny Bayless. And you answered your own question. You're like, he didn't enforce clinching in the Devin Haney fight. Why's that? Because Devin Haney is the guy he was there to help, and Devin Haney is a clincher. So of course he's not going to enforce the clinching. So that's why he didn't enforce it in that fight, and all of a sudden he wants to enforce it versus a guy in where he's the opponent. Boots just wants to unload on him. So I just can't stand these referees, man. All of them. Any referee that's good and we praise, they're eventually going to get that phone call. They're going to get the card pulled. So they're going to be like, hey, guys, we need you to do us that favor for putting you on all these events. So it's unfortunate, man. So you're going to see the fuckery keep happening. I didn't see that fight because I didn't really want to watch the replay because I didn't even want to see that fight. I'm excited about Keyshawn Davis. He looks now like you see the Tank fanboys kind of already backpedaling and making excuses or he ain't ready, blah 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 blah. Fight's never gonna happen, y'all. Tank's just turned 30. He's old for that weight, especially with his bad habits. If he didn't fight guys when he was 25, he's not gonna fight them when he's 30, and they're up and coming. So the jig is up, man. Tank is done. He's over. You know, I'm sorry, but
hey, speaking
but
of
no, that's all I got, man. I mean, what's up?
Speaking of Houston and Tank Davis, I mean Texas and Tank Davis. Remember Tank Davis was going to fight in Houston. And I asked this question, man. I know you're from San Antonio, but maybe you can still answer it. They were saying that there were venue problems. That was one narrative that they were going with for the reason why Tank Davis's fight against Roach was postponed. Right?
Well, I've seen that happen here. It happened with Canelo. When Canelo was supposed to fight in the Alamo Dome, I was helping out Leia Battah, who was partnered up with Golden Boy. And Leia Battah was doing all the legwork down in Texas when they were having all the shows down here. And what happened was they didn't book it, quick enough. So it ended up going to Minute Maid Park in Houston. So when Canelo fought there, Leia Battah they lost like $1.5 million. That's when they quit. They quit. They ended up not fucking with boxing anymore because they lost their shirt on there. But I mean, I could believe it. But I mean, I think the reason they wanted to put it there too, because Houston has like the most. I think it has the most black people in Texas as far as the cities. You know, Dallas and Houston have a lot of black people, and Houston is probably number one. Houston's like Atlanta, a Texas version of Atlanta. So I can see why they did it there. And you got to realize, man, they can't put it in D.C. or Baltimore. That's a big rival. That's a big rivalry, man. That somebody's gonna get shot. You know how that crowd is.
Well, first of all, when you said that's the Atlanta of. That's the Atlanta of Texas. I heard Soberz go, huh? Like he's planning now. He's playing a little trick there now. He's playing a little trick.
Yeah, man. I love black girls, man. I love black girls. When I want to see a big booty red bone, I go to Houston, bro. That's where they're all at.
Well, there you go. He's on the record saying he likes to pound those sugar walls over there in Houston. But listen,
he likes those red bones. He likes the red bones.
But listen, I got to represent for us brown boys, man. You know.
Well, yeah. Listen, we don't. If I want representation, I go with Rayful Shapiro. But listen, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, man. It was a fun weekend, man. I had a good time with these two. I might pop into the Tyson fight. Tyson's my all-time favorite. My son's going to that, but I don't know, man. I'm worried about Tyson. I think I might just go last minute just so I can see the ring walk and scream when he gets announced, and then I'm gonna hide in the bar and just not watch it because I think he might get hurt, man. 58 is 58, but. And I'll be listening to y'all when y'all have them shows for that fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're making out to be as if we're going to be doing 3 pre-fight shows.
Yeah, they show the highlights. They show each fighter's highlights promoting the fight. They're showing like obviously the fights that Jake Paul has had, and then they're showing Mike Tyson from like 30 years ago. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? That's like false advertising. Yeah. You're not getting that Mike Tyson, bro. You show like his Roy Jones highlights.
You know what? You know what? Recognize.
One more thing. Yeah, but to that point, this week, you know who the face of boxing is?
Who is that?
Mike Tyson. Dude, everybody's talking about it. Mike Tyson was a global icon, and now everybody's like, we're kind of like this week's gonna be a time warp where people like casuals, people overseas, everybody's gonna be talking about Tyson because Tyson's he's that guy. He's the biggest. He's the last biggest star. There's nobody even bigger than him. You know, it was Ali and then it was him, but ever since then, nobody topped that. So. Yeah, man, Tyson's the face of boxing this week, man. I just hope he don't get hurt.
I mean, I hope he gets hurt. I want to see someone get hurt at least. All right, listen.
Come on, man.
No, man, I'm just kidding.
How dare you?
I'm kidding. Listen, Southpaw, thank you for your call. Call by next time, right? Take it easy out there.
All right, man. Wish me luck.
There you go. Yeah. Enjoy that. Enjoy clapping them cheeks over there in Houston. All right, listen.
He should have said.
Yeah.
I was going to say BDA next. He should have said, "I'll take it if it's easy."
Come on. Now, wait a minute. Well, hey, you know what? I don't even know what that means, actually. But shout out to Recognize, who just gave me an idea. Look, I'm not a litigious person, but yeah, if they're doing false advertising with the whole Tyson Jake Paul, I might have to give Rayful Shapiro a call. We might have a case. I don't know. Might be some cashing in time for Mr. BDA. Finally get myself that retirement package that I've been looking forward to. Fellas, don't forget, hit the like. Really helps us out. And yeah, I wanted to talk about a little bit about the Paul card because we also have on Saturday. That's the one I'm looking forward to. The Zone Saudi Arabia card. You got Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez taking on Chris Billiam Smith for most of the marbles. in the cruiserweight division. That's a good one. Jose Ramirez versus Arnold Barboza Jr. Barboza Jr. finally getting a good fight. Although he didn't look all that hot against that Irish guy in the last one, but still, he's looking to make up for that. You got the return of Oscar Collazo, who I believe is the youngest title holder in boxing, taking on knockout CP Freshmart. Yeah, that's one of those Thai fighters with the weird-ass names. And you got Oscar Duarte, always looking forward to his fights, taking on... He's not fighting Kenneth Sims anymore, by the way. He's fighting the last guy who fought Kenneth Sims, which is Akhmadaliev, I believe. That a Russian dude that got shafted against Barrios a couple of years ago. And then on top of that, the fight that perhaps I'm looking forward to the most on Saturday, William Cepeda versus Stephen Farmer. We're going to be talking about all of that plus much more later on this week. I said we got Jimmy jumping in here. Jimmy, are you there?
Yo, what up?
Now, Jimmy, do you... Well, hello right there. Jimmy, who's invested in not replying to my DMs on Discord, he loves ignoring me on the Discord. I don't know what's up with that, Jimmy, but I don't take it personal. I don't take it personal.
No BS. Brand new phone today. I haven't had a phone for 5 days.
The amount of times I used to hear that when I was a parole officer. I lost my phone. I'm kidding. No, but Jimmy.
And I wasn't even in Massachusetts, so that's what made it suck.
Okay. That explains a couple of things. Because I was thinking maybe with the whole election thing. I know you take those things pretty seriously. I thought maybe.
I wanted to talk to you, and we'll talk off the air. But I was desperate to talk to you after the election.
Well, I mean, there's no need to get desperate. But I wanted to ask you, man. Did you catch the Jaron Ennis fight?
Yes, I did.
Curious to hear your thoughts.
Did. I thought listen.
Uh-oh.
That kid, for his size, right, and his hand speed, whoever taught him and said the Philly shell defense would work out for him was an idiot. They started him off wrong. If he was taught to fight normal with his hands up and use his athleticism, he would be so much better. That kid. I mean, you got guys who are, they're entry level almost. Don't you know what I mean? Avavision, this Kitty Pot last night. These aren't elite fighters, and when you're catching shots, big shots from guys like that, a Terrence Crawford, especially a prime Terrence Crawford, would beat the dog snot out of him. Would rock his world. And it's because of the way his stance is. It's just he is. I can tell you what happened. I can't tell you for sure. I can give you my opinion. He was so athletic and had such quick hands. He blasted people out, and he made it look easy in the images. And on the way up, soft touches, everybody gets them. Especially when you're a blue chip prospect. And it was easy for you. You could do it. We all watched it back when he was with the PBC, right? Blasting out, fucking guys who would normally work in the concession stands. But when you start stepping up the competition and you start, get guys with even like the slightest bit of aptitude, boxing aptitude, you're going to get eaten up. And somebody like Terrence Crawford, and again, a prime Terrence Crawford especially, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, he would have that. He would have your timing figured out. And his stance is terrible. His delivery of his punch. For his athleticism, the lack of making adjustments, he should not have been getting caught with that same left hand all night. In the first round, he got his corner just lit into him. Like, dude, what are you doing? Getting caught with that. And he falls into that Philly shell, you know what I mean, style, and it's just not working out for him. It might be working out for him, and he's too talented, naturally gifted. And boy, when I say talented, his hand speed for a guy that big. And I'll tell you another thing, it hurts his punching power because his stance is too wide. And he's not getting enough torque on his punches. If he really worked on bringing his feet closer together, like you're talking on the phone, putting your hands up to your face and turning your punches over and snapping at the waist, he'd add so much more power to his punches. That's what's hurting him, because in that particular style, most of his big power is going to come off hooks.
Right.
And It's just it kind of makes you one-dimensional. It's only hurting him. I mean, the guy I was just absolutely blown away with was Bam, of course. Just that was unbelievable. What a performance. That kid is a fucking wow. I just keep getting more and more blown away by Bam Rodriguez. He's going to be Rodriguez. I'm sorry for butchering that name for a second. Listen, that kid, wow. And listen, I am a huge Chocolatito fan. My whole life I've been. Love Chocolatito. Please don't make that fight, Chocolatito. Please don't make it. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to see you go out like that because I think Bam is going to fucking destroy him. And I'm just being honest. He's too old. You know what I'm saying? Bam right now at his age, his confidence, kid's got power and uppercuts. Did you see that uppercut at the speed he threw that? That guy was kind of falling into that uppercut. His accuracy is shocking to me. It's just shocking. He turns, no, like I was so blown away by his punch and accuracy with power. You could a guy starts moving as you're getting him rocked, and you're throwing pity patter punches. You can follow through and get some connects, but he throws with power. So he knows, like he's such a student, and knows the game so well. He's throwing the power into where the guy's going. And that's just a rare talent. Very few guys can do that, and he's one of them. And man, I was blown away by that kid. And I hate the talk of him fighting anyway. It's like he's a 115-pound guy. Anyway, he's going to probably be at 126. Like, why would anybody even? I don't like that talk and think that's silly talk. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with like anyway fighting Davis. It's just. But I don't think there's anybody 115, 118 right now who would beat him.
I mean, I would still pick Bam always over Fernando Martinez. We were talking about that earlier, Pumita, but I would still pick him over Martinez, but it's still a tough fight. It's not a gimme. It's like I'm not on board. Yeah, I mean, we just look at what happened with Jaron Ennis. People, Ring Magazine saying that he was going to be the next pound-for-pound king. That's what they said months ago. And look at him now. So I don't anoint people the next great whatever. And I don't give him wins before they've actually fought the opposition. So Fernando Martinez is a strong guy. Look at his fight against Ioka. This dude just never really stopped. So it would be a fun fight. I want to see that before we start talking about Nakatani. And like you said, forget Inoue. Inoue is in another stratosphere right now in weight-wise, so forget about that. But Jimmy, in regards to Jaron Ennis, you made a good point. That's something that we forgot to actually emphasize, that if you're getting hit with the same punch over and over and over, usually world-class boxers can read the rhythm of a fight or of a fighter or an opponent and make adjustments accordingly, especially the world-class guys. He never did that. He kept getting caught. And then on top of that, he kept getting his head rocked side to side. And Eddie Hearn ended up making excuses for him, saying, well, it's because he wanted to give the people a show, and he wasn't worried about what was coming back. I mean, is that really... Do you buy that? That's the perfect thing a promoter would say to cover up for the fact that you were getting caught with shots, including the 12th round. If that kid actually was a banger he was fighting, I'm telling you, because he absolutely rocked.
He would have been
Ennis.
Right, Jimmy?
Yeah. What's up, brother, man?
If that dude had Karen, if he had some big time pop, he might have fucking gotten Ennis down at the very least. Drop it there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I do believe that taking a guy and putting him in front of his hometown crowd is always risky. It always is, because you get over anxious. When you get over anxious, but that's a young guy thing. Like we saw it. In fact, we saw it with the prospect of the year. We saw him get over, and he made rookie mistakes. The first one was a flash knockdown, caught him on the chin, but his legs were straight, his eyes were straight. You know what I mean? He got right back up. Just his glove hit the ground, but it did rock him enough to make him lose his balance and touch the thing. But then he went trying to jump on him. But again, what's that kid? 19, 20? No, yeah, 19 years old.
20.
And he's a kid. 20, okay. So you got to do stupid things at 20 years old. But I'm telling you right now, he's going to learn from that. Believe me, I guarantee you, his family, they're not celebrating that win. They are just going, man, what'd you do? I mean, one of those punches caught him at the end of the chin. His hands were up and it still caught him in the chin. I'm not saying it's not something that'd be a little bit. So like you can, how I always say, everybody can show the goods. Everything about Abdullah Mason was perfect. But like we say, you never know until they face someone who's got serious power. The good thing is, this kid did have real power. 21 knockouts. I don't care. You know what I mean? That kid does have power. And he caught him cold. In the first round, it's terrible to get hit on a big shot on the chin when you're cold. You're more receptive to go down. But he did come back. He did put the kid out. But again, he's a young guy. I still think he's the goods. I think he has the talent and the ability to do things that Ennis doesn't do. I was really shocked by Ennis's performance. I'll be honest. I was so like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. He has the ability to fight southpaw too. He can switch it up. So if you're getting caught with that big left hand, switch up and just box him. Get him out at the end of your jab. Work him into something. You know what I mean? And if you're trying to make a show for your fucking fans and you keep eating big left hands, the only show you're doing is you're getting people to question your abilities. What's up, brother?
I was going to say, Jimmy, it showed that fight. He has absolutely no ring IQ.
That's no excellent point.
In between fights and no adjustments in between rounds. His corner couldn't get a hold of him. He wasn't listening to them. They weren't even giving him good advice. They were telling him, get him out of there, get him out of there. It was just complete lack of ring IQ for the fighter and the corner. And
that's an excellent point, brother.
That's going to show up at the worst time. That's going to be exposed at the worst time.
I think if he was to fight even this aged Bud Crawford, I think Bud would blast him out. Bud will get him out of there because Bud does have a high ring IQ, and he punishes people for their mistakes. That's all that boxing is. I mean, that's the name of the game. You're capitalizing on somebody else's mistakes. And
what do they say about boxing?
What's that?
I was gonna say, what do they say about boxing? It's a smart man sport. Tough guy gets hurt.
Yep. He shouldn't have been getting eaten with those same shots over and over.
He's just trying to barrel through. He's just trying to barrel through his opponent. He's trying to be bigger and stronger. That's not going to work with everybody. Yeah. Did you see that that Eddie Hearn preemptively accepted a fight for Jaron Ennis?
No, I didn't.
Virgil Ortiz?
I had to change it right away. Against Victor Ortiz?
Virgil Ortiz and
Virgil.
Golden Boy versus Matchroom 5 versus 5. He before this Karen fight, he accepted already on his behalf, saying, "Yeah, we'd love it." And afterwards, he was still saying, "I'm going to present them the fight. We got to look at the options, the financial package, and then see if it'll be on Bozy and Jaron to accept it."
Yeah, but they're not going to make that fight.
No,
they're not going to make that fight. They'll get out of it somehow. They'll have to. Why? Oh my God, if I was running if I was his people right now or his management, that's the last dude you put him in with. A kid with dynamite in his fucking hands.
I think Virgil will fucking drop his ass, and that's gonna be. I'll be honest with you. I think Virgil knocks him out.
You know what would happen? I think it'd be look like the Tim Tszyu fight in Murtazalia.
Yes, something like that. It'll be similar. I mean,
blasted.
Yeah,
maybe Ortiz is a little bit bigger than him, but I think, bro, he better not fight like that. No, you get put to sleep.
Yeah, he hits way too hard. You can't make mistakes like that against a Virgil Ortiz, and especially if Virgil Ortiz is healthy. And from all the claims, I guess they're saying he's feeling well. He's not having bad side effects, and he's training hard. He's just not the guy. You cannot make mistakes against someone with that kind of power. You just can't take those punches.
Bohashak kept his hands up. He's a strong dude. He kept his hands up. He was still getting rocked. Now imagine this fucking Jaron Ennis dropping hands when he's throwing his hooks. He catches that flush. I don't know, man. It's very dangerous. Let's go to a phone call real quick, and then we got to get back to another piece of business here. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832. What's on your mind?
What up? It's Straight G2 rule.
Straight G2.
I've been listening. Salute to all y'all. I love the panelists. Yeah, man. The fights that we had on Friday and Saturday, they were good fights. It was a good two good events, right? One DAZN, one Top Rank, right? Let me say this though, man. Like, people are too hard on Abdullah Mason. Like, I'm telling y'all, bro, this kid is special, bro. Like, what's it called? Like, bro, it's almost people like, and I've noticed this, bro. Like, I'm not the type to usually like say this, bro, but a lot of people are racist, bro. I know it, bro, because like if that would have been hold up, bro. Let me finish, bro. No, because listen, bro. If that would have been William Zapata, bro, like if he would have got dropped, they would have been like, oh no, okay, you know, stuff happens. If that was Virgil Ortiz, oh, he still won a close fight. But if that's Abdullah, he got exposed. He got you know, he's a bum. This that, and the third. He ain't fought nobody. You know, but bro, this kid is 20, bro, and yeah, I will say this though. The other fight on Saturday, I kind of favored Boots to beat Ortiz, but now I think I might be changing my mind. I think I'll give y'all that, bro, because he did look like a deer in headlights when he was getting comboed by what's his name, Karen, at the end of the fight. So yeah, I mean I could see it. I could see it now. I'll say that. But
you can see it now. Hey, by the way, when you say when you say Abdullah Mason is special, that's the thing. That's a distinction. There's special like Abdullah Mason type special, and then there's special like Straight G2 is special. But no, go ahead. Keep going.
No,
I'm kidding around. I'm kidding around. Man. Come on.
Right, you know. Come on.
It's a little bit of fun.
What's it called? I'll say this too. You know who's really special? Like no funny shit, right? Bam, of course. You know, like the way he took that dude out, like Jimmy said, bro. Dude, that dude is a top 5, top 3 pound for pound fighter, bro. Like realistically, that dude is like his IQ is up there with guys like Inoue and Usyk. You know,
awesome.
He may even have more IQ guys, bro.
I have him second pound for pound in American fighters right now, behind Crawford. I got Crawford, Bam, Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me too. And then on Keyshawn Davis, I think that dude is kind of like no, that dude is kind of like what's that UK fighter? The guy from where Triple G is from, Janabek, bro. He has a lot of good performances, but every now and about he'll have like a performance where he looks kind of funny. Like it's not as bad as Teofimo, like you know, like Hot and Cold Nights, but he does have them. So I'm a bit, but it does look like he's improving. So I'll give him that, you know. And yeah, man, that's what are the fights we had on?
Well, I was going to get to the one from Thursday that very few people are talking about, Oslesis Iglesias, who is Morel's Cuban replacement at 168. Another aggressive Cuban southpaw who can crack. That guy looked sensational on Thursday in my neck of the woods here in Quebec.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I like that guy, too. That dude is also, he has the potential because from what I've seen, he's never really had a bad performance. And that dude knocks people out, bro. I'm telling you, bro. He'll be up there soon with guys like David Benavidez, Canelo, all those guys, bro. So he'll be in the mix real soon. Yeah, you guys hear me? Or?
Yeah, but I think Reckoners was saying something. I don't know if he was going to add something. Or...
No, I was going to say, is he ATG status, Straight G or Arturo?
Nah, I gotta see more of Ozzy. He's still a prospect that's coming up, kind of like guys like Keyshawn and whatnot. But I don't know. I like what I see of him so far.
You mean Key?
No, but yeah, let's see what happens, man. And again, with Iglesias,
I'm getting confused with it. I don't like it.
Yeah, with Iglesias again.
You mean Key? Just call him Key.
We already saw what happened with Morel. Yeah. Where people were hyping him up, and then he ended up encountering a lot of resistance against the Serbian Cholo at 175. So we'll see what happens there. But Straight G, anything else you want to say before we move on?
I mean, I was impressed with the way Keyshawn blasted Lemos. So you got to give him credit for that. You know, that's a good little test. You know, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's definitely a statement, I'll say. Yeah, man. Oh, by the way, boxing is looking pretty good, bro. You got Fury up, and Goodman versus Inoue. That's a really good fight. I like that fight. So
yeah, it's a decent fight.
Probably my favorite. That would have happened at 122. You know, Goodman's been doing this thing, bro. Beating guys like Rice, Salim, beating what's Wahacha? It's like this one little Thailandese dude that was undefeated. You know, he's been doing this thing. He actually beat up a dude who was from Houston, I think. I think my sister knew the dude, but he's been doing this thing, bro. I like that fight for Inoue.
What?
You know, that's a good fight.
All right, well, Straight G. Yeah.
Media, can I give a little response real quick?
All right, hold on. Soberz wants to respond to something you say. Go ahead, Soberz.
Because you're pulling that little racism card and talking about Virgil Ortiz, bro. I think you were listening when that fight. I think you literally listened to the show when that fight happened, when he fought Boachuk, and we were on here criticizing Ortiz. I even said that I think Boachuk won, and we were making fun of him the way he reacted to his knockdown.
Yep. And remember, Soberz called me a fanboy because I said that I thought he won more rounds, Virgil Ortiz. So what I said, he called, you kind of fanboy for him a little bit, man. It sounds like that's what you're doing. So. You can't feel that racism thing.
Didn't he also call you gay? Didn't he also call you gay? I think.
Yeah, I think he called gay for Virgil Ortiz or some shit like that. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Gays for Ortiz. Hashtag gays for Ortiz. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you give benefit of the doubts to fighters who are, I guess, favored, you would say, right? Like Virgil or, you know, Keyshawn Davis or, you know. But yeah, man.
You keep calling you keep calling the guy Queso Davis. Like, that's queso. That's Spanish for cheese. Queso Davis.
Sounds like a rapper. Sounds like a rapper.
No, I like the guy, bro. I like the guy. He's a really good fighter. But, you know, speaking of giving fighters the benefit of the doubt, I think Tyson Fury can, if he makes some adjustments, he could probably pull it off against in the rematch. I don't know, but that's a really good fight too.
Close fight. The fight was competitive in the first time, so
all right.
Historically, he does back better in the second fight.
Well, yeah, we got to move on here. But shout out to Straight G for your call and call back next time, right, man?
No doubt, fam. No doubt. Yeah, peace, man. Take care.
Take it easy, man. Fam. I don't even know if I want to take this call. Dora, if you're listening, I want you on your best behavior, please. It's a Sunday show. I don't want you spurging out like you were last night. All right, man? Please. Pretty please with sugar on top. Keep it corporate, all right? Let's go to, I think, oh, no, excuse me. I don't think that's Dora. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's in your mind?
What is up, you motherfuckers? What is going on?
Say,
that was a motherfucking great fight last night. I really enjoyed it. I actually subscribed to DAZN for the full year because I got excited about the Queensberry thing, and I want to see more 5 versus 5 kind of fights, more of those kind of tournaments. So I'm in full support of the matchups and what they're doing, because you know what? To win every fight is a tragedy. Like we've been stuck on this whole thing. We've been talking about it for years on this show, and I'm just glad to see guys struggle now, finally getting some good fights. And you know, it's not always about the name. So
is that right?
There are tough guys out there. And what I enjoyed about last night's fight with Boots is like, yeah, he didn't look so great, but it's a real good learning experience for him. And Karen's stock went up, in my opinion. I mean, that guy took some really nasty blows. And Ennis's chin got tested. However, if he gets in there, he doesn't make adjustments, and he gets in there with the guy who could really hit, Boots is going down. I mean, he was getting clubbed with some clean shots, and all you need to do is have a guy in there that hits a little harder and has a little more pop. And yeah, there were a lot of holes in that defense last night. I've seen it before. I think we've all talked about it before. I just don't think I've ever seen it quite that bad.
Well, I know I've talked about it. I've never heard you talk about it, I don't think. But go ahead, keep going.
No. I mean, I know we've talked about it on the show before.
No, I know. I'm saying I've talked about it. I've talked about it, but I never heard you say it specifically. But go ahead. I'll give you the benefit of that.
No, I mean we've been on some Friday shows where we call in, and I know we definitely talked about this that his defense is questionable, but I don't think I've ever seen it like that. He got manhandled quite a bit too. Looks like Karen kind of threw him around a little bit too. Didn't really, after he took a knee, he didn't really respect too much of the power that was coming back at him. So all you need is a guy with like I said, with a good with some good pop, and Boots might be in trouble. As far as him fighting Ortiz, that would be a really good fight. I think that would be. I think I would slightly have to favor Ennis just because he's well acclimated to the weight. I'm sorry, Ortiz. Now that he's had that fight with Bohachuk, because Bohachuk. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Bohachuk hits harder than Ennis?
I know. I don't. Maybe less explosiveness, or as Miguel Cotto would say, explosivity. But he's a heavy-handed dude.
Green Machine?
What was that?
You're talking about that Green Machine? I mean, the Machine dude. What's his nickname?
No. I'm talking about Bohachuk, the guy that fought Virgil Ortiz. Because now people are starting to talk about Virgil fighting Boots again. Because Boots said he's going to move up. So if he moves up, I would love him to
Ortiz
fight.
already took I thought. Well, that kid he fought, the Russian kid, who was one of the hottest punches at the division through the first 6 rounds, and his motor dies, and he rocked Virgil, but Virgil came back. Well, what's his? I can't remember his name.
You just said
Bohachuk.
What's that?
Yeah, Bohachuk.
Was that? Oh, was that? Oh,
Bohachuk. I don't know. Bohachuk.
That was a few years ago.
But my question was to you guys: what do you? Who would you favor in that fight if they were to fight? Because now the rumblings are like people would love to see Ennis and Virgil, because that was the whole talk when they were at 47 together. Now that potentially Boots is going to move up another weight class, they're going to be in the same weight class again. Now that fight can be in talks again. Who do you think hits harder? Was my question, was Bohachuk or Boots Ennis?
You know what? I think Bohachuk does hit harder just because he's a bigger dude fighting at his correct weight. However, I do think, obviously Ennis has the faster hands. But I think we saw against a well-conditioned guy yesterday, he just really couldn't do much. And he does have, like Miguel Cotto says, he does have more explosivity than Bohachuk.
He has more explosivity, but if he has a little bit more distance. Because what I was noticing is when Karen was getting in his face, Karen was landing those sneaky shots and those awkward shots. He was actually getting some really cool angles on him too, which I've seen Virgil do many times. Many times Virgil just cuts those slight angles just to get a hook in there, and he is a hooker. Virgil is definitely a hooker.
That's right.
So if you get him in there with Boots, I would have to slightly favor Virgil Ortiz in that fight.
Well, listen, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they make it happen. I think that the Turk definitely has the cash to make that fight happen, and I want to see it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Because isn't Virgil on the same platform too, right?
They're all on the same platform now, yeah.
Yeah, so there is zero excuse to make good fights happen with this crop of fighters that are on DAZN. And I'm hoping that when Top Rank leaves ESPN, they head over to DAZN, because it's just going to be it's going to be nearly unstoppable. We're gonna get to see some really good fights. So I'm really just hoping for a new era in boxing where we just see guys just like fight each other, and enough of this Shakur Stevens and fucking the Tank.
Reminds me,
Haney, the Tank and Haney era, like that crop of fighters can go wiping ass for all I care. I don't give a fuck about those guys anymore. I'm just looking at the new guys that are coming up, and the guys that are actually in that network making it happen. So anyway, you guys have a great fucking Sunday. Have a good one, man.
You too, man. Take it easy out there.
Why did he have to say fucking Sunday?
I don't know. That dude, I imagine he curses.
Because he knows it's the day of Christ. He knows it's the Lord's day, and he wants to upset us.
Well, let me tell you something. He's going to be burning in hell, and the gnashing of teeth and the scraping of the walls while we're sitting at the holy marriage supper of the Lamb. Hallelujah. But listen, I want to say this. Don't forget to hit the like. That's number one. Hit that like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. And the other thing I wanted to say was, you know how some people say, well, instead of saying that guy beats this dude or that guy dominates, they say that guy eats him. Oh, he's going to eat him. I don't want to ever hear anyone say that about Boots because they call him Booty Ennis. So I don't want to hear anyone say, oh, he's going to eat Booty Ennis. Like, come on, that's too on the nose, especially on the Sunday show. So please, nobody say that. I got to just mention that right off the bat.
And I got to say one thing. Ortiz's and power isn't just on his hooks. His straight punches got some fucking whack on them, too.
Absolutely.
Whereas Ennis, all his power is coming on the hook. So that's dangerous when your power is all on the hook, but you got a guy who can put his power out at the end of his punch.
Yeah, you can look. He's got a thick trunk too. I think that's how he turns over that trunk, and he's a stout, strong fella. I wanted to say this real quick because we got a lot to get to. We're running out of time here. Jimmy, with the Boots Ennis thing, one thing I wanted to touch on the defense. I was saying this earlier was that he relies too much on rolling with the shots. And he doesn't really parry enough. He doesn't slip enough punches. Well, what do you think? Is that why he's getting rocked with 3 flush shots in a row, or like how? What do you think?
Of course, because if you don't roll, the first one catches you, you're screwed for the next.
Right.
If you got like so, yeah. No, that's I hate that defense. I hate that posture. You know what I mean? Like people say, well, Floyd did it so well, but Floyd didn't start off fights doing that. A lot of times he started with his hands up high, and he didn't start fighting. He didn't start fights back when he was pretty boy like that. He would do that when he already got a guy figured out, and if he could use his height, advantage to it too. It's just not a good thing because it just puts you you're in a bad position to fight back. In that particular stance. It's just, listen, if that was a good stance, people would have been doing it. Boxing's been around for 100 years, right? People have been doing that forever. There's a reason why, people don't do that because once you get caught, I've never been a fan of that. Never been a fan of it. It's been only like Floyd's been one of the few guys been able to make it work.
That's right.
But he's a special talent,
Yeah, man. Trying to do what what's his name? Floyd does. I mean, you can do some of it. You can't go around trying to do it every other during the whole fight. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Hit the like. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to a phone call here. And if it is Dora,
and Mr. BDA.
Yes. What the hell was that?
Oh,
no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you've been around boxing rings. What's the first thing they tell you on day one? Never bend backwards. Never bend at the waist backwards. Right. You always want to have your defense leaning forward to duck left and right and under punches. That particular defense, right? If you don't roll with the punch, and then another thing, if you got somebody who's great with feints, right? They can feint you into a roll, and now you bent at the waist going backwards. And if they're good with, you know what I mean? So you get somebody study some film and good with feints and has power out the end of his punch with some length, like Ortiz has.
That's right.
Yeah,
bad news.
I would not make that fight next. That's just my opinion.
Bad news.
Yep.
Stepping back, like you said, chin. He got caught that way against Evanesian too.
That's right.
He got caught against Evanesian that way too. He got caught against Lipinius. Well, against Lipinius, he had his hand down. But yeah, that's bad news right there. Actually, by the way, the first thing I tell people at the gym is, you signed a waiver? That ass is mine. But I mean, we all say different things, I suppose. But hey, we got to go to a phone call. Hey, if that is Dora, please keep it corporate, man. Otherwise, I'm going to hang up on you as soon as I hear something distasteful. Let's go to 336. 336, are you there?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I was gonna keep it like pretty chill and shit. Obviously, I was just pissed off last night. But so yeah, when I watched the fight, okay, maybe you had it 6 rounds to Boots, so you're 7 rounds to Boots. But these people saying he won 10, 11 rounds, if that was the case, Harvey Dock wouldn't have felt the need to take a point away from Karen Chukhadzhian. Boots was low blowing all night too, and I actually thought Karen won. So my only question that I just keep scratching my head on is, why is Karen admitting he lost when I don't like to look at the punch stats too often, but the punch stats had him right there in the fight the entire time. They said he landed more power punches too. I don't think these are real fights in the sense he knows he can't knock Boots out. He's not a power puncher. So, yeah, he's probably just told, fight your hardest, blah, blah, blah. You're not getting the decision. Just say you lost. Say Boots is a great fighter, all this shit, and then, I'll give you extra money. It wouldn't shock me if Eddie Hearn did something like that. You know what he likes to do for melanated individuals that he promotes? So I don't know. I think it's kind of like, I don't think it was real in the sense. Like, he knew he never had a shot on the scorecards. But, I mean, I don't know. I thought he won 7-8 rounds of the fight. I thought Karen outboxed him. I really do. And I picked him to get knocked out. So.
Well, can I say something about that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because you brought up the punch test. I forgot to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. These are the punch tests from CompuBox. According to CompuBox, the Karen landed 173 shots out of 522. Ennis supposedly landed 224 out of 730. Now, 224. If he's the big puncher that they claim he is, shouldn't he have knocked this guy out? But I don't think. First of all, I don't think these numbers are correct. By the way, I don't think he landed 224. What do you think, Dora?
No, absolutely not. I don't think either guy landed that many. But what I will say is, whatever fight stats that DAZN was using, I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe that's promoted by Turkey. They had, one that was inflated, but they only had Boots outlanding him by 20 punches. So, and they said Karen Chukhadzhian landed more power punches, which I saw in the fight too. So yeah, I don't know. The fight wasn't real. It's just another typical fake fight with Eastern European, Central Asians never have a shot against a Black American fighter in America. It'll never happen. So, yeah, I mean, unless they knock him out, right, or win 10 rounds or 11 rounds convincingly. They just don't have a chance. So, yeah, I'm not going to get too much into that. He gets absolutely obliterated by Virgil Ortiz, Boachuk. I've said this forever. Virgil Ortiz is very, very – he's more athletic than Boots Ennis. I'm going to just go ahead and say that. And he's a harder puncher, more explosive. His linear punches are far, far, far harder and stronger. His jab, way, way stronger. Straight right hand, way strong. He destroys that guy in 6 rounds. I don't even think it goes 6 rounds, truth be told, because the punches he was getting hit with in the first 6 rounds of that fight, you get hit like that from Virgil. With Boots, nah, it's over with him. This guy was getting walked down and beat up and pushed back by a guy who can't punch nowhere near as hard as Virgil Ortiz. It's a mismatch. So I do hope that fight happens. I don't want to hear no excuses from these BLM boxing fans that, he doesn't have to take the fight and all this shit, because they've been capping for this dude for a long time, saying Virgil Ortiz was ducking. So it's time for him to man up and get knocked out. Keyshawn Davis looks pretty good. Good.
Yeah, but Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's obviously great. The only issue is he got him out of there faster than I thought he would. I thought he'd stop him in 7 or 8. The problem is when you're fighting 35-year-olds, like, unless you're a truly great fighter, your will to win is not there anymore. Especially in those lower weight classes, they age a bit faster because it's more indicative of their speed. And that, Petro Guevara, I was already implying before the fight, he didn't have the foot speed he used to have fighting guys that, like when he was younger, like Casimero, Taraji, stuff like that. And this guy had already been getting dropped by Carlos Cuadras, who Bam already beat. So it was just a showcase fight. He's really, really good. Assuming Puma beats Ioka in the rematch, which I think he will, that'll be a good fight for Bam before going up to 118. I'm not too interested. He doesn't have to go undisputed, none of that nonsense. He doesn't need the WBO title. I just want to see him fight Puma. And, yeah, great fighter. Keyshawn Davis looked good, too, obviously. The only thing is, when you look at his performances against guys like Nair Albright, you kind of wonder against certain boxers, how is he going to perform? So the question's still out on him. I think I would favor him against Branchik, but Branchik is no Lemos. I'm going to just say that. He's a much, much, much better boxer than that guy. Fuck these fixed fights. Jaron Ennis is a hype job, BLM hype job. And What?
I'm reacting. I'm just reacting.
That's not bad. Everybody knows this, dude.
Take it easy.
I'm just reacting, by the way. Don't pay too much attention to what I say.
Okay. All right. But yeah, I'm not gonna go off and some crip tried DMing me talking about how he was gonna kill me. Yes, it was funny as shit. So I just sent that into Soberz server.
Well, there you go.
Jaron Ennis gets knocked out by Virgil Ortiz in 6 rounds or less. He doesn't stand a shot in hell.
Dora making fun.
Like, Jesus could be black and he'll still lose, is all I got to say. He's got no chance, and I'm out.
All right, take it easy, Dora. Thank you for your call, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Bam Rodriguez Pumita fight. Let me tell you, that is going to be if it happens. Well, he's got to get past Yoka in the rematch. By the way, I don't see that in the schedule, but hopefully it happens.
Are you not sold on Bam?
Why,
Mr. BDA? Are you not sold on Bam, like to the degree that, like, I don't know. I'm just questioning. I'm asking you.
Well, here's my thing.
You still think he's?
No, here's my thing. Here's my thing. I've been impressed since the Cizra Sorongvisa fight. However, my stance on every fighter. I don't give him credit for fights that haven't happened yet. In other words, I don't go, well, he beats this guy, he beats that guy, he beats, you know what I mean? Like I said, I favor him over Pumita for, the Argentinian guy that I just mentioned. But he's got to beat him first before I can give him credit for that. And this is a dude, he's not in his late 40s. He's not, he hasn't been inactive for 2 years like Estrada. This is a good, because remember, Jimmy, I was saying this before you got here. Bam Rodriguez has that win over Weeks XL, one gag, whatever, and Estrada. Those guys were, like I said, either inactive or older. Now, Sonny Edwards, very good win against a young guy, but it's a young guy that can crack. Bam Rodriguez looked human against Israel Gonzalez and Christian Gonzalez, and Gonzalez broke his jaw, or fractured his jaw, rather. So this Martinez guy that he's going to be fighting, Argentinian, again, he's very wide open with his punches, very wide arch punches. So there's room for Bam to work. That's why I would favor him, but he's relentless. He punches hard, the punches come fast. So for people, that's why I was saying, when people start saying, well, Inoue, you're overhyping a guy like Bam Rodriguez, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the people that do so, because there's essentially what they're saying is, well, nobody beats him at 115, 112. He's got to go all the way to 122 to get a challenge. Nah, man, there's a challenge right at 115, and his name is Fernando Martinez. So I want to see him fight that dude before we...
I agree with you. No, I agree with everything you say. I just, you know what I mean? Estrada, I mean, is totally understand the 2-year layoff. But just to take out in Estrada to realize like it's not going to get any better, But again, he's older, so like you said, there is like slight asterisks. But again, sometimes it's not even about who he's fighting; it's just the things I see a fighter do when he's in there that I notice, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? I see him do things that he impresses me.
I agree, man. I agree, especially for 24 years of age. I mean, again, in 2022, he was thereabouts of 22 when he beat Wangek. Sorongvisa. And again, Sorongvisa was older, but I was more impressed with that win than I was with the Estrada one. Because Estrada, at least Sorongvisa can crack, so he doesn't rely too much on the speed and all that. Estrada was always more of a boxer puncher. So him with the rust, it was never going to end well for him on top of the rust and all that. But it's still, again, like Bam Rodriguez for his age, yeah, absolutely. But I'm just annoyed when people bring up Inoue. Like, man, come on, man, that there's plenty of competition at 115 and 118 for.
It's asinine. It's just, right. I mean, it's just two different. You're talking about 2 weight classes above him. Just like, let him take care of what he's doing, where he's at. And my thing again with Ennis, just real quick, when they announced that first fight against Karen, that was butchered on social media and everybody like, who is this kid? You look, another fucking throws a lot of punches, but is not a power puncher. He doesn't even have a 50% knockout ratio, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had Ennis dizzy a few times. My thing is this, why were we even rematching that motherfucker? Because he didn't look that good against him, because the first fight, Karen ran a lot, and Boots just didn't look good against him. The problem was you shouldn't have fought him in the first place. If you're who you say you are, that isn't the type of guy you should be fighting at 32 professional fights. If you're the person people have been saying you are. So to rematch him, and then to go all 12 and to be rocked, and even in the final round catching big shots by a fucking nobody, it just wasn't a good look, man. Just wasn't a good look. And that's just my opinion,
Well, you know what? The other thing about that, Jimmy, is that people were saying after the first fight, he looked bad because the other guy ran. Well, he didn't run this time. So what happened here? Like, what was the excuse? You know what I mean?
And he didn't stop him. I mean, that's his thing, right? It's his power, right? He's got, blistering power. He didn't stop him, so
there were points where I thought he didn't have the stamina to sustain to commit to a sustained attack. Because again, people don't understand how hard it is. I mean, to be throwing hard shots in that ring takes a lot out of you. And I don't think he felt like he had the energy to, or the know-how, the wherewithal to keep on going nonstop. That's something like a guy like Bohajak knows what to do. He knows how to mix it up, keep coming forward, high guard. Jaron Ennis is not that type of guy. Or at least not against Karen. It didn't look that way. Here's the
I didn't hear the first part of this show, and I can just to prove about my phone. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't been on Twitter or tweeted anything, even retweeted anything in the show in about 5 months because the phone I had before, for some reason, I could not get on Twitter. Could not get on Twitter, and I got a new phone today, and I got on. So I'm finally on Twitter. I retweeted. You could see I retweeted the show thing tonight. It's been like 5 or 6 months.
I tell you what,
one tweet on my account.
If I had a phone and I couldn't get on Twitter, I'd be pretty happy.
I was locked out. I couldn't get in.
Yeah, I'd be happy though. Who needs to get on Twitter?
It sucked. Yeah.
Hey, here's another piece of news that it's good to hear that your communications are working, or your comms. I wanted to sound official there. Your comms are back in operational. I wanted to talk about this because somebody mentioned something about friends or whatever, friendship, whatever. In the history of boxing, we've seen friends tear each other up in the ring. We've seen Simon Brown versus Maurice Blocker. These guys were friends, perhaps the best of friends, and they tried killing each other for the right amount of money. Jamil McCline, big giant heavyweight, was friends with Chris Bird, who was a more diminutive heavyweight. He tried to rip Chris Bird's head off and actually knocked him down and had him out, all but out. And then Chris Bird came back and he slapped McCline around. Johnny Tapia versus Marco Antonio Barrera, good friends. They fought each other. I mean, I can go on and on with this. Genaro Hernandez versus the Salvadorian Hernandez. They were friends. They fought each other. So this is a business. If the money is right, these guys should fight each other. Well, turns out Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn. For this segment, I'll refer to them by their first name exclusively. Just this once. Keyshawn and Shakur, they don't want to fight. This is what Shakur Stevenson had to say recently. He was on the zone talking about it because, he's on the zone now. I want to get in the ring as soon as possible, watching these guys fight. Honestly, what I've seen with Keyshawn last night, it kind of hyped me up and motivated me. It made me want to put on a superstar performance. I mean, we've been waiting that for a long time, right, from Shakur Stevenson, and let the world know who I am once again, even though I had done that several times. I mean, when did he do that? Against Oscar Valdez? Basic ass Oscar Valdez, or when he low-blowed his way to a win over Conceição. But I'm going to do it again, he said. So there's some brotherly competition there. But then check this out. Then he said this: we're going to get right in the gym. We're going to make it out in the gym and have fun with each other. First of all, that sounded kind of suspect right there. We're going to make it out in the gym and have fun with each other in the gym. But at the end of the day, we got a lot of love for each other. It's never going to happen. I feel great. Like I said, he's so special. Keyshawn is up there with the elite and the best of the best. We can only take over the sport of boxing together. Now, I want to hear your take on these fellas. I mean, come on. We're friends and we're never going to fight each other. They're not blood brothers. They're not like Juan Manuel Marquez, Rafael Marquez, or the Klitschko brothers. So what's going on here?
Well, a lot of states
like talking about.
Oh, sorry. Go, brother.
No, I was going to say something like he was talking about a significant other more than his buddy,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to make it in the ring together, right? What? What's he saying?
Well, for years, some states, and I believe Massachusetts is one of them, they wouldn't sanction actual two brothers fighting each other. They did that for years, which is odd. But listen, my thing is this. It's an odd question for me. My thing, like, if it was one of my best friends in the whole world, yeah, I would want to fight him. Because I've never closed fist punched one of my brothers in the face because I love them. If I love somebody, I wouldn't want to close fist them. But if it's just somebody I become friends with through the boxing and we've become friends and like, hey, what's up? We even hung out a few times. It's a business and it's a sport. If he's talking about it like it's a street fight, right? Like, yeah, there's a big difference. It's a sport. He might be your friend. If they grew up together and they were like he's his best man at his wedding, there's certain occasions I'd say, yeah, man, they love each other. They don't want to fucking beat each other up, or like they don't want to, because very few people can fight each other and remain friends, especially if you knock the other one out. It changes the friendship. I don't care what anybody says. It changes the friendship. And so I don't believe they have that kind of friendship. They didn't even grow up in the same parts of the country. So to me, it's like, it doesn't make sense.
To be fair, they don't necessarily have to have grown up in the same part of the country to be. But I get what you're saying. You're saying
I'm talking about like if they grew, you know what I'm saying? Like if they were like real close, like they were like best of friends growing up, like he's my best friend, and no, I don't want to fight him. It's happened a few times, you know, in my life. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but there was guys who said, no, I wouldn't want to fight him because he's been my best friend my whole life. Because it does change your friendship, just if you knock him out, you know. It's a weird situation. But I don't believe, I think that's a cop-out. Those two haven't been that close to friends for years. They've known each other through the, you know, through being on the USA Boxing and shit. But listen, if the money's right, at the end of the day, it's not a fist fight. It's not a fight of anger. It's a sport. Boxing is a sport. Mickey Ward proved that with Arturo Gatti. Listen, after the first fight, they became close friends, man. They were calling each other on the phone all the time. They were calling each other up when they were getting ready for the second fight. How you doing? How's training going? To me, it was odd. I was like, Mick, man, I don't know how, like, I couldn't, like, just, you know, I need to have a kind of an edge. But you know, certain guys, it's just a sport to them, you know, and so, yeah, no, I saw them do it. They truly, really cared about each other. But when that fucking bell rang, they weren't holding back.
Well, you know, friends, it's like you said, it's prize fighting. So if these guys can keep it from getting personal, whatever, they should be. Look, for $1 million, they'd be fighting each other. Look, I'd fight my friend, and he wouldn't even take $1 million. Give me 10 grand, I'll fight my friend. I'll knock his ass out. Childhood friend. And you know I could do it. So these dudes, I mean, yeah, like Errol Stevens says in the chat, it sounds like Shakur Stevens is scared. That's what it sounds like. So, I mean, I mean, that's what he's saying. I'm not, you know, stamping that with my seal of approval, but it's I mean,
is Keyshawn saying the same thing? Is Keyshawn repeating the same line? Is Keyshawn saying,
they're on the same page. They've been saying this for years. They've been saying this for years since Stevenson was at 126. They said they're never going to fight. Ben said, like, yo, what kind of lame shit is that? If you're my homie, let's make some money. What do you mean?
Exactly. I mean,
right? At the end of the day, it's about the money, right? It's about your children's future. It's about your family's future, man. That's what it's all about. And if you both put in a great performance, and it's a knock drag out fight, all you've done is both raised up each other's you know, name.
That's why I like.
Yeah, no, it's not that hard.
That's why I like Caleb Plant, who says he doesn't make friends with anybody that's near or in or near his division. He's like, fuck that, I might have to fight this dude. Why I gotta be friendly with them for? So yeah, that's.
I'm listening. I 100% agree with them. 100%. This kid Joey Elliott from the Gloves,
good guy.
Like I always knew I'd have to fight him. I never made friends. I'd see him out. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking be nice to him. Why would I want to? You know what I mean? Because myself personally, I don't want to like the person. You know.
Well, also because he was Napolitan too, right? And you're Sicilian, I think that's how it works.
Yeah, and plus I fucking couldn't stand the fact that the kid won the Gloves 7 years in a row. It's like, dude, when are you gonna turn pro? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, dude? Won in New England 7 years in a row. Like, just like, dude, most people turn pro, but then on him, he just wanted to keep beating everybody in the amateurs.
Interesting. He wanted to set a record or something, or
I don't know. It was just weird. He's never turned pro. He just kept coming back year after year after year. Fucking weirdo.
Why, you think it's like those guys that they graduate from high school, but they keep showing up in their car or whatever, you know, hanging out with like they never actually move on from high school? Is that what you're saying happened with that dude?
Yeah, like they're at the bar and they're 36 years old with their football jacket on.
Yeah, we've seen that.
You know what I mean? Talking about that big game against fucking another town, you know, it's like, dude, are you serious right now? Yeah, no, it was odd. It was just like, it was a weird situation.
I've been in those small Texas towns. I've been in those small Texas town, man. When the coach goes to the local diner and you see all the gas station workers, they're all there and they're always like, when we gonna win state, coach? When we gonna win state? They're always talking about winning state. They gotta win state. They're obsessed with it. Here's the other thing I want to run by you, Jimmy, before we go, because you weren't here when we talked about it. So Keyshawn Davis ends up knocking out Gustavo Lemos in 2 rounds, and what a difference a knockout makes, because now people are really setting the hype up here and saying, I mean, good for him. He got a knockout, which is we want to see fighters do, and now he's getting a lot of recognition. Well, Gervonta Davis appears to be unwilling to recognize him. He closed his Twitter account. If you go to Gervonta Tank Davis's Twitter account, it says this account does not exist. Jimmy, does this have anything to do with Keyshawn Davis's performance, or you think this is something else? Well, what do you think, if you had to speculate?
Well, I think he didn't want to hear all the bullshit because, listen, they truly hate each other. Like, Keyshawn fucking dogs him all the time. Like, they really don't like each other. And I think, I think Davis doesn't want to fight anybody. Gervonta Davis that's going to put up even a chance to win. I think he's a professional bum slayer. Oh. I think that's what he'll be until the day he retires.
Wait a minute.
You know what I mean? And when and even against Garcia, who was still caught him young, fucking weight trained him. Like, again, but that's on Garcia. I mean, he had his people literally publicly saying, I'm not down. I mean, Oscar, when he went to his local high school, like just about 2 months before the fight, it was asked, and he didn't even hesitate. No, I don't think you should be taking this fight. Because just the demands they're making are ridiculous. Like the weight class is too small for him. And then to come to find out rehydration clause. And then you think it's a surprise he took him out with a body shot? Of course. He was emaciated. But do you think, but he went up and he fought Barrios at 140, but yet he wouldn't fight Garcia at 140.
Well, but let's not forget, he also saddled Barrios with a rehydration clause. So, that goes to your point.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, of course. He saw Keyshawn go out there and blast it out. And again, he lost rounds to Roley. I mean, like that guy who called and he was saying he belongs in the Hall of Fame off his resume.
Yeah.
Against Francesco. And you just look at his resume. What have they done ever since fighting him? But listen, I agree with Straight G. I guess now that I'm back on Twitter and today, and I was going, a lot of people like dogging out Mason because his glove. You could go down, right? I mean, everybody goes down. Very few fighters will go their whole career without touching the canvas at some point. Very few. Bam went down. I mean, fucking Inouye's been down. I mean, he went down, glove touching the canvas, but was he hurt? Was his eyes? Was he like instantly on his fucking horse going back? Going backwards, trying to just cover up and trying to survive the rest of the round? No. So those were clear flash knockdowns, right? Is it to say that it doesn't make you go, okay, now you got to just kind of watch your chin? Listen, he was cold, he was young, he was over anxious. The second one, especially. He made a huge mistake for the second knockdown. But am I gonna like people writing this kid off? Again, there's a big difference from going down. Like say when Bam put that kid down for the second round. The reason why that guy didn't bother counting him out because the fucking fighter took the mouthpiece out. When a fighter reaches over and takes his mouthpiece out, the fight's over. I mean, that's like in some cases, in some states, they'll tell you. If a fighter deliberately lays there when he's been put down and he spits his mouthpiece or takes it out the fight, you wave it right there. That used to mean like, yeah, I'm done. I think he felt Bam was too big for him, too strong, and when he caught that second shot, he rolled over and he reached up and he took his mouthpiece out. And that's why the ref was right away, did the right thing, called the fight right there. Yep, you just took your mouthpiece out. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you sounded like a lawyer there for a second. When you said he's young, he's green, he was dry. It's like like Your Honor, who amongst us hasn't he who has never sinned, he cast the first stone. Come on, let's face the facts. Yeah, he was 20 years. He's 20 years old. That's what I was telling Soberz. De La Hoya, when he was fighting at 130, 135, he had those chicken legs, those scarecrow legs. He got dropped in 2 different fights. And afterwards, he only got dropped once in about 15 years. So, yeah, it's not the end of the world getting dropped. It is interesting, though, that he got dropped twice in a row in the same round. That is a little bit concerning. But like you said, it's you give him the benefit of the doubt because he's 20 years old. And he was fighting a guy who, like you said, he had a lot of knockouts. Whatever he was a puncher. So,
was a puncher. In the knockdowns, as you know how there's different levels of getting knocked down. There's knockdowns where you're fucking stretched out on a canvas, right?
Right.
Staring up at the ceiling, and you're getting up, and your legs aren't out from like when Haney got put down by Garcia. And then it's the whoof, your fucking glove touched the ground, right? That's a knockdown, but it's not like his eyes were clear, his legs were instantly under him, so he wasn't hurt. So yes, it was a knockdown, but he wasn't fucking hurt.
There you go.
And it's silly to say to watch that kid. Oh yeah, he's not going to be anything. Yeah, he's got a glass chin.
It's too early.
Listen, that's just ridiculous. It's
too early to tell something positive or negative. Anything overtly positive or overtly negative. It's too early, man. At 20 years old, yeah, you gotta give him a couple more years. Then we'll see what happens.
By the way, what else he did real quick? He did a mistake, the classic mistake of when you're young and they're bringing you along, you're feasting on competition that you're meant to knock out. But as as your career escalates, so doesn't the competition. He went in and tried to fight him like he was fighting the same guys as at a 6-rounder. You know what I mean? No, like even worrying about what was coming back. I'm just going to put on a show. Like that's just amateurish young man things. Like everybody's dangerous. And if somebody has 21 knockouts, I don't care if they're fighting bums. He's knocked them out. So clearly the dude's got power. So you got to fight him accordingly. I know that from everything I've read or heard about this kid and from what Steve Kim has said about him, I believe that will, he's going to learn from that. He's going to learn that, especially in the beginning of a fight, when you're still cold and you're fighting a power puncher, don't go out there and try to make fucking highlight reel knockouts or knockdowns in the first round. Go out there and use your advantages, your boxing speed, make it go a few rounds. And let his power wane a little before you do silly things. And again, it was just a mistake young guys make. And I just say people write him off because of that. I just think you're jumping the gun is all I'm saying.
Well, you know what they say. If you go out looking for the knockout, chances are it won't show up. So, yeah, you're right about that, man. Shout out to Gypsy's Boxing Style, by the way, for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, Shalom, BDA. Karen is pronounced Karen? Is that how you pronounce it? He's Armenian, and Karen is a B- fighter with no power. So it's not that bad for Ennis. But this Ennis is chinny, and Ortiz will eat that Ennis. Ha ha ha. All right. Well, shout out to Gypsy Boxing Style for that. And listen, Ennis needs to fix those defensive mistakes. They're going to cost him, man. I mean, they were costing him against Evanesian, but he ended up making the guy quit. He got away with it against Villa because Villa is a slow guy. He saw those coming, but you're fighting guys like Ortiz, like Madrimov, especially a guy like Madrimov, who's going to feint. He's going to change levels. He's going to punch with both hands. He can crack with both hands. It's a whole different ballgame right there. And then on top of that, different division, 154. Shout out to Gypsy Boxing Style again for his contribution, man. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show. And shout out to Rafael Garza for expanding his membership program. Shout out to him. Always glad to keep having him on board here. One of the initiated. He says, pay-per-view Oscar De La Hoya versus Iman Khalif. Vengeance because he hit women at the 2024 Olympics. Oh, yeah, what they were saying. Listen, I stayed silent about that Olympic boxer because it's for people that don't know, there was this Olympic boxer from Morocco or France, I think, or Moroccan origin. One of those, North African countries, I think. And turns out that this female boxer might have been a dude. And I stayed silent because I didn't know what was what. I had no tangible evidence to suggest that without a shadow of a doubt, this person was a dude. Now they're saying that there was a special leaked report stating that this dude does indeed have a schlong. And he's not a hermaphrodite, I don't think. It's an actual dude. So I don't know, man, if that is the case, I don't think he should. I mean, you know my stance on this. I don't think anybody should be in combat sports. No male should be in combat sports punching a woman. I should be punching women outside the ring, but in the ring, no. Competition-wise, no. Ah, come on. Who said Soberz, man? What? Soberz, what is that? Like, come on.
That's I mean. That's I mean to leave.
This picture.
They try to say, well, they take hormones. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Men, our frames are different. Our bone density is different. Our white tissue is different. It's stronger. You know what I mean? So I don't care how much hormones the person takes. If he was born a male and he went through puberty before he transitioned, I don't give a fuck. That's disgusting.
You guys can't see it because I'm not sharing the screen with you. But those of you in the chat, if you look up this Iman boxer, compare him with Ra, the bad guy from the 1994 Stargate movie. They look kind of similar. Maybe this Imar, whatever, should play up the villain angle like Ra in Stargate and really double down and say.
You know who Ra was also? You know who that same actor was in the Crying Game?
Crying Game, yeah.
Yep.
There's no such thing as coincidences, Jimmy. I keep telling people everything has meaning. Everything's connected. Everything is everything. We're onto something here. And guess what? I'm not even. I don't know. Maybe these type of ideas are coming to me because I'm talking with Soberz and I'm getting that contact high. But I think we're onto something here. I'll tell you that much right now. All right, listen, fellas. We gotta go. I gotta run too. We've been on for 2.5 hours. But thank you guys for jumping on. Stay tuned, you guys on the panel for this week. More shows coming up. Like I said, we got this fantastic card from Saudi Arabia coming up this Saturday. And then on top of it, on Friday, people wants to talk about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. The fight of the century, some people are calling it. I'm certainly on board with that. If he gets us a little bit of cheese, a little bit of dough. But listen, it's going to be a good week, I think, for in terms of boxing. Two events back-to-back. The Tyson fights on Friday, and then on Saturday, that's the zone card. Evening card, by the way, because it's from Saudi Arabia, so we don't have to stay up all the way till fucking midnight. By the way, that's the other thing. Shout out to ESPN. I like the fact that this Keyshawn Davis fight didn't end at 2 in the morning. It actually ended at a reasonable time. Keep it up. You'll get no complaints from me. Or from us, rather, here on this show.
You know that Jake Paul Tyson fight's going to sell well over 1 million pay-per-views.
Well, that's the other thing, though. I didn't want to get into it now, but
it's on
Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on
so
Netflix?
If you already have the subscription,
okay.
If you have the subscription, you can watch it. That's going to get millions of views.
Of course. Yep.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Jake Paul is getting 40 mil for this fight. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
I think it can be believable because Netflix throws around money. They give shitty comedians, like $10 million for a special that no one watches. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's true, man. They got money to burn over there. All right, well, listen, fellas.
And listen, everybody calls Jake. Oh, yeah, you're hanging up. That's right. It's the end of the show. All right.
Go ahead.
Good night, everybody. Peace.
All right.
No, I was going to say, everybody calls Jake Paul a YouTuber. He was a YouTuber, but he also was an athlete in high school, a wrestler, and he was, like, I guess, kind of a tough guy. So, you know what I mean? Just because he got his fame in YouTube doesn't mean that he's a total pussy. It's just kind of funny that, but he is fighting a 58 years old?
I believe so, yeah.
That was even a somewhat close prime. Mike Tyson would decapitate the dude, but listen, Mike's still quick at 58 years old. It's interesting, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we shall indeed,
talk
man.
To you guys later.
I think that for a lot of people, that fight, there's intrigue. That's why they're willing to get that Netflix subscription. By the way, Netflix said that they've got their I don't know what they would call it, IT department or copyright department, whatever. They're on there already, and they've got the most advanced tech ready to shut down any illicit stream. So maybe you guys should go on the straight and narrow like I do, and actually pay for this fight.
Yep, I got a Netflix subscription. So
well, I know you do because you like those left leaning show. I mean, I know the Obamas have a deal there, so you probably got.
Well, yeah, and they with the Cuties. You know, that was one of my favorite movies.
Ah, geez, Louise. All right, well, we got to go. But shout out to Jimmy, shout out to Soberz, shout out to Recognize who was here earlier. Shout out to all those guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody who donated the super chat. Everybody who called in. Everybody, like I said, Chet Collins, Virtuoso, Double L, Josh, Gypsy King, and Rafael Garza. Appreciate your contribution, guys. Really appreciate it. Keeps us afloat, keeps us moving, keeps us rolling. I Ching. And I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat as well. Dark Hado, Quentin Lassiter, Quickslot, Eparukua, Super Sardonic, Unknown, Gypsy Boxing Style, Warrior Way, Dex 2024. Who else was here? Hold on a second. I got a couple more names. I got to read a couple more names that we can. Real quick.
No shout outs to the people who didn't hit the like. It's just amazing to me that all it takes is literally to touch the screen with your finger.
You know what? I didn't even bother people. I didn't even bother people today with the hit the like. I should have, because I don't see those likes going where they're supposed to. Let me tell you as much right now. Shout out to Iceman, to Matador, Unknown, Alfredo Contreras, Parukua, Abel, Super Sardonic, Mr. Classic Metal, Vader D, Iceman. If I forgot anybody, fellas, because we got to go, but shout out to you, fellas. Thank